The Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. Please silence all cell phones and note that this meeting is being taped by FCTV. If there's any private party recording this hearing, step up to the podium to request permission. I'll introduce the board and staff. My far right is Mark Finneran. To my right is, what's his name? Scott Peterson.
Yeah.
There's no Frank Duffy here tonight. I'm thrown off. I'm Suzanne Murphy, the chair. To my left is Tony Bertucci, a voting member, and Nick Haney, another voting member. And we have Noreen Stockman, our zoning administrator. The Zoning Board of Appeals is charged with applying the state zoning statutes as well as the town zoning bylaws and reviewing and voting on applications. All decisions are made through the public hearing process. Our goal is to hear testimony from the applicants and the public and to allow a full and fair discussion of the project prior to closing the hearing process and reaching a decision. Number one, to begin each hearing, the clerk will read the public announcement for the hearing and read pertinent information from the file. Two, the applicant or the applicant's representative will then have 15 minutes to make a presentation, but time may be extended by a vote of the board. Three, the board will then question the applicant. Four, the public will then be invited to comment. Comment should be limited to 2 minutes, be strictly related to the proposal. All members of the public wishing to speak should wait to be recognized by the chair, then come to the podium. State your name and address for the record and speak into the mic. It will not amplify your voice, but record audio for the FCT viewers. And before we take up the first hearing, if there's anybody that wants to make a public comment about anything that's not on our agenda, you're welcome to come up. Anybody? All right, so we'll start off with our first hearing, which is brand new, 04126 Falmouth Housing Trust, 21 Pheasant Lane. And I'm playing clerk tonight. So we have 21 Pheasant Lane. It's in an RC district. The overlay is Green Pond. It's in a nitrogen-sensitive area. Pheasant Lane is on a public road. The lot size is 11,540. We've had referrals from many boards, engineering, Board of Health, water, and the height of the building will be 24 3 inches and 7/8. The proposed use of the land will be 9.5 for structure and for combined 13.9. They're proposing a 1551 square foot dwelling. And I'm going to keep it short, and I think that's about all I have. So who's ever presenting, come on up.
Thank you. For the record, I am Attorney Laura Moynihan, and I'm the Executive Director of the Falmouth Housing Trust, the applicant. And with me tonight is Kate Asen, our Chief Development Officer. And this is the presentation for 21 Pheasant Lane for a comprehensive permit. This is a local initiative program approved project. One home is proposed to be sold to a household at or below 80% AMI. It's one housing unit within the existing developed neighborhood of Pheasant Lane. And this is the GIS map showing you the location right in the middle with the orange of the vacant lot. Here is a more larger map showing the lot within the subdivision. It is owned by the town of Falmouth. It is part of the disposition of town-owned land for affordable housing. So town meeting approved disposing of this lot for affordable housing. An RFP was issued by the town, and the Falmouth Housing Trust filed the response, and the response was accepted. And so here we are applying for permits. The lot size is comparable to neighborhood lots. There are 36 existing houses on Pheasant Lane. It's within walking distance of employment, recreation, schools, and services. It's 11,540 square feet. The topography is relatively flat. There are existing water and electric utilities in the street. Pheasant Lane is a public way, improved with pavement. It is not in a water resource protection district. It is not in a flood hazard zone, and there are no wetland resource areas or buffers. And these are some Google pictures. I expect the board members have been out to the site, but we just put these in for the record anyway. You could see the improved way And on the right-hand side is roughly the location of 21 Pheasant Lane. We propose to build a 3-bedroom home with 2 stories, 2 full baths, 1,551 square feet of finished living area, an unfinished basement, exterior deck and yard area with wooded buffers on either side of the lot. And this is a proposed kitchen from one of the homes that we've built on Bigelow Landing Road. It will be the same design here. Clancy Construction is the builder. We have energy efficient appliances, high performance heat pump AC system, an ERV system, double glazed windows, LED interior lighting. Water conservation is low volume faucets and shower heads and low flow toilets. And again, another picture of the proposed inside of the home. We have a visitable interior layout where the exterior front door is widened to allow for visitation by somebody who may be in a wheelchair. The first floor bathroom, doorway and hallway is also widened to allow for that accessibility. It also allows for conversion of the home by the homeowner if a homeowner becomes the owner of the home and is in a wheelchair. They have the ability to convert the home fully. But visitability is one of the requirements of the town, and we have proposed it here, and we have done it on Bigelow Landing Road as well. Advanced treatment septic system, it's been approved by the Board of Health. That's in your file. The home will be solar ready and EV capable. And this is the site plan for the project. The topography, as I mentioned, is relatively flat. I have met with the abutters on both sides, the Gregas and the O'Neills. We've looked at the vegetation on the lot. We have proposed restricted vegetated buffers on both sides of the property just to give them some assurance that that vegetation will remain. And what we do is we will actually record a plan at the Registry of Deeds that has a vegetated buffer restriction for it. So the house is sited relatively middle of the lot. It has a walkway coming out, 2 parking spaces at the front of the home. Septic system is on the side. We also locate a proposed shed location for the homeowner, just so the homeowner knows that's where is the best location for it, and the Board of Appeals has it on record for future addition of a shed if the homeowner decides to purchase one. And these are the elevation plans. They're in your file. This is a home that has been constructed and approved in the past. It's a salt box Cape style home. The basement is unfinished. The first floor, as I mentioned, has the main bath, kitchen, living room as an open concept plan. Also a master bedroom on the first floor, or main bedroom, and 2 bedrooms upstairs with a full bath. And these are just larger blow-up plans. You can see on the bath here over on the left, this is the wider area for the bathroom and the doorway and the wider hallway access. Second floor, the bedrooms are relatively large, single stairway coming up and a full bath at the top of the stairs. And as far as the developer standing under 40B, we are a nonprofit 501c3 tax-exempt housing developer. We have site control with the land disposition agreement that has been executed with the Select Board, and we have received the project eligibility or site approval from HLC. So this HUD median family income right now for 2026 is $123,600 for Barnstable County. So that's set by the federal government. This home will be sold to an 80% area median income buyer. So I've given you some examples here for a family of 5, which would be appropriate for this house. The maximum annual income would be $122,000. Family of 4, $112,000, $950,000, and a family of 3, $101,700. And those are 80% of median income. The estimated sale price is $285,000. There are no HOA fees here. And as we know, the median sale price for market rate homes in Falmouth now exceeds $800,000. I've given you some data from Realtor.com just showing as of June 2026, I think it's well known that our median home sale price is very high in the community, but this is just showing you it was $821,000 as of June of 2026. And interestingly enough, the median rent, $3,500 a month, which is not relevant here, but kind of interesting. So the housing production plan recommends 80 units per year to be produced by the town for the SHI. And Pheasant Lane, this home would be eligible for the SHI at 80% AMI. We have requested waivers for lot area and minimum average width only, so only 2 waivers required. And again, I've given you similar lot sizes on Pheasant Lane here. There are 18 in the 10,000 range, 10 in the 15,000 range, 6 20,000 range, and 2 in the 30,000 range. So the size of this lot is very comparable to the neighborhood. So we are looking for a 5-foot waiver on the minimum average width, which I think is negligible, and also the lot area waiver, which is currently 40,000 square feet. Otherwise, the property complies with building setback requirements, building height, and the number of stories. And I also just wanted to mention too that given the changes under the Affordable Homes Act, it's likely that this lot is actually buildable under the Affordable Homes Act because it qualifies as a lot that merged, it has at least 10,000 square feet. It would be a home that has up to 1,800 square feet of living area, and it has the required frontage. So the reason why really we're here is because the town, through the RFP process, requested a comprehensive permit. We elected to go that route rather than trying to establish with the building commissioner or others that it is actually buildable by right under the Affordable Homes Act. So the planning board is in the process now of amending the zoning bylaws to document that in our local bylaw. But given that we felt that this project was very low impact and compatible with the neighborhood and would add another nice home to this neighborhood, we proceeded with the comprehensive permit as requested. Development standards meets the local comprehensive plan, allowing for greater infill development, encouraging and allowing the market to create multiple housing opportunities, accepting responsibility for providing houses for people at all stages of life and levels of income. The Affordable Housing Fund Board of Trustees priorities, creating affordable housing with increased density compatible with the neighborhood, meeting the criteria of the target population, providing housing for larger families, needing 3 bedrooms, creates a home for a first-time home buyer, and provides workforce housing at 80% AMI. So the project does support the local and regional housing plans. The Affordable Housing Committee has issued a letter of support. The Select Board endorsed the LIP application and has approved funding for the home at $175,000 from the Affordable Housing Fund. And that is our presentation, so I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Can we start doing this, or will you start doing it? You're at bat first.
I wasn't on the board the last time one of these Pheasant Lane things went through, and I didn't approve of it at all. I'd like to ask you, did the town ever consider selling this lot and using that money to build affordable housing? My problem here is, and it's a big problem as far as I'm concerned, I mean, and I grew up with this stuff. My father was the chairman of the Housing Authority in the state of Vermont in the 60s when all the Great Society money came through. And these houses are meant to be starter homes for young families, and they're affordable into perpetuity. And then when you get your feet on the ground and you get established, you know, you move on to your next home. This house, or the other house on Pheasant Lane, I mean, you're selling them million-dollar house to somebody for $250,000 or whatever the number is, what are the chances that anybody's ever gonna move up and out of this? I just, as a taxpayer and a resident, I mean, I'm insulted by this whole process. And I'm sorry, but that's the way I feel. I mean, I think it's, what kind of a business model is, what are you doing? Oh, I'm building $1 million home and I'm gonna sell it for $258,000. I just, this thing bothers me.
So, well, I appreciate your comments, and obviously, you know,
And I know it's not your fault, because the
No,
town
it's-
somehow picked this lot, and,
Right.
and I think it was just an ill-conceived notion.
Okay, so let's break that down. First of all, it's not a buildable lot. So
It
for
is
the
now.
town, for a deed restricted home, that's
1,800 square feet,
affordable.
big restriction.
That's 1,800 square feet. Okay, so in terms of selling the lot, what is the market value of a lot of that nature?
More than you're
Will-
getting for the house.
Will the town agree that the Affordable Homes Act actually applies to the lot? There's lots of variables there. So in terms of selling the lot, it's not a sure thing that the lot really has any value on the market. Number two, the lot sitting there doing nothing is not generating any real estate tax revenue for the town. So building any home there is a financial plus, because these homes do pay real estate taxes. And number three, you know, this generation of home buyers, they don't expect, like we did, to buy a home. So the story that you just told is not a story that people in their 20s and 30s live by anymore, if they want to live in Falmouth, because they cannot go out and buy an $800,000 home. They can't even go out and buy a $600,000 or $700,000 home. So this whole idea.
But there's plenty of people that can.
There's, sure, right, but do we want to be providing homes for our workforce, for people that are working here, for our teachers, firefighters, police officers, municipal employees? You know, that's what we're trying to do, is give them the opportunity to be able to purchase a home and afford to pay the mortgage, number one. Somebody buying a home that is paying $700,000 or $800,000 between mortgage, taxes, insurance, their monthly housing costs can be $500,000 or $600,000 a month. So it's not reachable for people even making $180,000 a year.
I understand all that.
Okay.
I mean, it's,
So, and then lastly, we have a housing production plan. I know the zoning board does not,
I
is
hope
not
you don't
in.
plan on producing more like this. 'Cause this
Okay,
is,
well,
I'm sorry, I'm not gonna say anything more.
No, I
But this
just,
thing bothers me.
Okay,
And it's the
I-
second time around, and it's just ridiculous. The bottom line is, you're selling somebody $1 million home for $250,000, when somehow or another with the laws, you could have sold the thing and put the money back in and
it's just not proper.
You can only sell the lot if somebody's gonna be applying for a comprehensive permit or arguing with the town about whether or not it's buildable under the Affordable Homes Act, and then it's deed restricted. So a developer is not gonna pay very much or anything for a lot that he or she can only build an 1,800 square foot house on, that's
Only.
deed restricted, okay? Because there's not a lot of profit in there, Mark.
Go
All
on
right,
to the next.
but,
I don't even
no,
know what more it
I
is.
wanna
I
get
just don't.
Okay, that's
This is
fine.
crazy.
It's fine, but we do have a housing production plan in the community that's
I
been
hope it
approved.
doesn't include more of this, and I mean,
Okay,
I don't-
but you have to look at, you know, that's your opinion. We have town
And I
meeting.
bet you it's shared by a lot of people who pay taxes in this town.
Okay, but town meeting voted to dispose
I
of the lot.
understand, and town meeting
Okay.
will do whatever they're
By an
told on some
overwhelming-
occasions. And this
overwhelming
is just an
majority.
ill-conceived notion. You can talk all night, but it is.
Okay, well, if I'm not gonna change your mind, then I urge you to read,
There's not a
read the
chance
housing
on
production
God's
plan.
green earth.
How do you,
And
how
how
do
you came up with another one of these after you got by with the first one is just beyond me.
I mean, you guys developed Esker Place, right?
yes,
Yeah. And how many were there originally? 8 or 12?
18. 18.
And like I had a friend who benefited from that in the 90s or whatever. But then she went on to move out and it got sold to somebody else. And that's the way it should be. Nobody's ever going to move out of either one of these houses. They're going to stay there in their $1 million house, paying $250,000 mortgage. And that's a steaming pile of horse dung, if you ask me.
Well,
So
you
you should
know,
just go on to the next, because I don't
No,
even want,
I-
I'm sorry. I am sorry, but
No,
I
I-
can't change the way I feel, and I think that's just
well,
logical.
I mean, with respect, I think it's a little short-sighted because we
Really?
do have, yeah, we do have a housing problem.
So what? We all know that.
So how do you expect people to
Not by
work
giving
here?
people $1 million homes for 250 grand.
Well, it's
That's
not
That's not a good
250.
business model.
It's
Sorry.
285,
Go on to
and
the next
and
one.
it's
I'm
not
done,
a,
Madam Chair, thank you.
and it's not $1 million home. But please
Oh,
read,
yeah. Well,
please
it could
read
sell for
the
$1 million.
town's approved housing production plan, which was approved by the select board and the planning board.
Doesn't mean it's
And-
right.
Okay.
It doesn't
but-
mean it's right, and
but-
don't act like I
All
haven't
right,
read
let's
this
move
stuff,
on, let's
and I'm
move
not
on.
aware.
Let's move on,
All right,
Mark.
fine.
Scott, you have any questions?
I don't. I understand Mark's position here, but the fundamentals are you went through the process, you checked all the boxes. I'm fine with the project.
Thank you, yeah.
I just have a quick one. Who is in charge of the maintenance for the nitro system?
So the nitro system is through Clean-2. And what the Falmouth Housing Trust does is we set up an escrow fund for the first-time home buyer. We contract with Clean-2 for the first 3 years to do the O&M on the system until we can apply to have the inspection reduced to once per year from 4 times per year. So we cover the inspection costs for the first 3 years. And then that's what we did on Bigelow, are doing on Bigelow Landing Road. So the same would apply here.
And the only thing I had in referrals is water wants an upgrade out on the street.
Yes.
That's the only thing.
Yes, and we are required to apply for a water service permit, so we will do that, show that upgrade, show basically whatever they need to issue the water service permit.
And is it a full basement?
It's unfinished, and yes, it's a full basement.
Is there a way to get in from down the house, down the stairs?
There's a
the cellar stairs?
bulkhead in the
I couldn't
back.
tell on the plans very
Yeah.
well. Okay.
There's
And
a-
a bulkhead too.
Yeah, there's an
Okay.
interior stairway off of the kitchen, and then there is a bulkhead in the back. So the homeowner does have the option of finishing that basement if they want to.
And I appreciate the shed being on the plan. Tony?
As far as that shed goes, you can put it on the plan, but they can put it anywhere they want, up to 3 feet away
Well,
from
they
the...
can.
Well, now
But
it's
she's
going.
just suggesting a spot,
Right.
that's all.
So,
Go ahead.
I didn't get a chance to check today. Is this one of the models you built in McCoy recently?
Yes, the 3-bedroom, yes.
Okay. One of the concerns that in town here, and we'll talk more about this on another project of yours, is nitrogen load. Now, this is minor, this particular one. Next one's a little bit different. And one of the problems with these IA systems as I listened to the Board of Health recently, is that some folks are not, it's too expensive to maintain. So what does that do? It doesn't do the job. So it's sending nitrogen into the system. Basically, it takes 2 IA systems to equal 1 household sewer system, according to what Board of Health, and I hope I didn't misunderstand that. So this has always been a concern of this board for at least I've been here for a little over 3 years. But I think I just heard you say that you folks are going to escrow 3 years of maintenance, and then somehow somebody's going to, at this income level, which is a concern, or maintenance, is then going to pick it up and maintain it. Because if you don't maintain these things, then you might as well just put Title V in. All right? And that's a big, big concern, certainly for this board member. And I would like to hear that you're gonna do more than 3 years, because after 3 years, what do we do?
So what we do is we contract with Clean-2 and we have paid the O&M in advance. So first we get more of a reduced rate, but roughly after that period, it's about $400 a year. When you have a family living in the home that's earning, $120,000, $130,000, $140,000, $150,000 a year, that's not a burden to pay $400 a year to maintain your septic system.
That'll all change. I mean, it's gonna be, well over $1,000 at some point in time.
Well,
And I'm only saying that, I'm not saying that you're wrong. It's what I've heard compared to what you've been talking to, whoever you've been talking to. But
well, it's the
there is a
it's the
problem.
provider.
There is a
Okay.
problem with this whole thing, with these IA systems that's got to be solved someplace. And when, I mean, I don't disagree with Mr. Finneran, this town needs a lot of money, and we're giving things away. It shouldn't happen, but in any event, it is what it is, the wisdom of the town. So when these individual standalone homes are sold to somebody for $285,000, that's in perpetuity, isn't it?
No.
So so I'm gonna go back because I'm old and I bought a house and I expected to have an increase in value so I could move to the next one and move to the next one.
Right.
What happens when these folks who are theoretically starting out then make enough money to move to the next house? Do they have any equity gain at all?
Yes. So in every sale, there's what's called a resale multiplier that is put in the deed restriction. So basically, it's the purchase price of the home divided by the HUD median income at the time of sale from the Falmouth Housing Trust. So say roughly the sale of the home is $300,000, and just to make it simple, the HUD median income is $100,000. It's a little higher, but that means $300,000 divided by $100,000 is the resale multiplier. And then what happens when the house is, if the owner decides to sell the home in the future, they give notice to the town of resale, and there's a maximum sale price that's calculated at that time based on the increase in HUD median income. So if the HUD median income at the time of resale has gone up to $150,000, you times that by the multiplier. If that multiplier is 3, for example, that's $450,000. So the resale price of the home will always go up because the HUD median income always goes up. So the homeowner also gets any capital improvements back that they put into the home. So they'll get the resale price plus any capital improvements. These homes are very well built. They're built to last, to not have to have new roofs or new siding, for
You're doing
20,
hardyboard
30
siding.
years. Pardon me?
You're doing hardyboard siding.
Yes. But there is equity that is earned in the home as time goes by. So Esker Place that Mr. Finneran brought up, those homes were sold in the 90s for roughly $90,000. Well, 30 years later, they're selling for close to $300,000. So
Well,
there is an
part
increase
of-
in equity.
And I'll stop you, but part of what I think is foolishness of doing this type of housing is that 99% of the people in the world, their largest asset are their homes. And this is how they can move on and move on and move on. And these homes just will never, ever get there. In the next 15 years, you're going to have a McMansion here, and a McMansion here, a McMansion across the street, and then you'll have this home sitting here that won't have any value, or at least won't come close to it. But it is what it is. It's.
Have you seen the pictures that I put in the file of some
Yes.
of the abutting homes? So they're not
It'll
much
all,
larger?
believe me, it's all
Okay.
going to change. Falmouth is changing quickly.
Right.
Anyhow, it is what it is. I happen to think that for this site, a home like that, if you're going to do the type of siding you're talking about, which you're going to have to do, obviously, it fits well within that community. I don't have any concerns by that. I just think there's a lot of, this is not the right way to do things, but it is what it is.
And I just want to make it clear for the record that this was the proposal of the select board and town meeting. We responded to what the town was asking for, including advanced treatment, 3-bedroom home, a certain size, etc. It's not the Falmouth Housing Trust coming up with this idea that this home should be built
Well,
on
that's the
Pheasant Lane,
difference.
although we supported it, of course.
But that's the difference between elected officials and appointed officials. So
True,
I
but-
think it's
We
a
know
nice.
who came up with the idea.
I think the house fits well on that lot. I have no other questions.
Okay.
Oh, one other question. You said something about a vegetative buffer. Is that hashed line, if you go back to it?
Yes,
It doesn't say that. You said you were going to record the plan that way, so
Yeah.
it's in perpetuity.
yes, and I
Right?
would
Because that'll
expect,
become part of the conditions.
correct.
Okay. No, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Wait a minute and go to the public first.
Yeah, that's fine. I think regardless how I feel, like I'm on the zoning board, not the opinion, you know.
Opinion board.
I think if I have to stay consistent, I think it's a by right lot based on the
Is
2024
now.
decision that, so I mean, it is a valuable lot. Whether the town thinks it, the Affordable Homes Act says it's a buildable lot.
Think being the operative term here.
But, you know, for zoning purposes, I think it's a by right, so you guys can do whatever you want with it, sub 1,800 square feet of heated space, and, you know, I don't know what we can, I guess you said that the conditions of the, from the select boards that it had to come before us for a comprehensive permit?
Part of the RFP process was the select board was requiring a comprehensive permit. You know, and I don't often put this into our applications because I sort of assume or presume that, you know, those involved in housing know these things. But, you know, we have an almost 30% decline in our school enrollment. We're down to people under 40 in our community at less than 20%. You know, we have an aging population. We have no opportunity really for young people to buy homes in this community. So when you talk about building equity and trying to move forward and better yourself, you got to get in the door in the first place. If you can't even buy something, how are you going to build equity?
Now, is this person that gets this house going to be from Falmouth, living in Falmouth already, or are they going to be someone that gets to move out of state and come try to find? I mean, are we adding people to the population by giving away, or is it people that are here? Because we have resources, clearly resources in this town, water, sewer, are a major issue. Bringing, I mean, it's kind of a catch-22. You need affordable housing, but if we're bringing people in to the we're adding to the crisis on the resource side, just to provide affordable housing for. So I guess my question is someone that moves into this place going to be from Falmouth, live in Falmouth, employee?
The house will have to be subject to a lottery. That's one of the requirements of the select board. You can't have a local preference lottery for one home. So if you had more than one home, you could have a local preference lottery and what we call a general pool. So anybody that works in Falmouth, lives in Falmouth, or has children in the Falmouth Public Schools can go in the local preference pool. Many of our applicants are local people. Some of them are actually people that do not live in Falmouth anymore, but grew up here, and their families are here. So when we talk about, is it going to be somebody that lives in Falmouth, it may not be. It may be somebody that grew up in Falmouth, but now lives in Bourne, or now lives in Carver, or now lives in Plymouth, but wants to be in Falmouth and raise their families in Falmouth. So my response is always that they will become a Falmouth family. And when we're looking at trying to, you know, you can laugh all you want.
Let me ask you this question.
You
Did
don't.
somebody from Falmouth get the other house on Pheasant Lane? I believe the answer to that is no.
I would have to go back and look and see. But it goes to the vitality of our community. Do we want to be an old community with, you know, most of our people over the age of 60, which is what we have now? Or do we want to preserve the vitality of our community by having people here of all ages? And that's, you know, Mr. Finneran, you could say, who cares, let them live wherever they want. But
I didn't say that.
well, that's
No, that's
what
what
you
you took
implied.
from it.
Okay, well.
And I mean, this problem is 70% caused by this town going up and buying every open lot that's available. I mean, at some point, you got to give up on the open space and take care of your future. This problem was 75% created by, and I mean, this is just the icing on the cake as far as I look at things.
It's a trickle-down problem that, no question, has been around for a long
By
time.
design.
It was
It's called Agenda 21.
It was presented to town meeting originally. I don't know if you remember Brett Putnam in, you know, the 90s, late 90s, went to town meeting and said, we have a housing problem, and nothing was done. And I can tell you that, you know, the Vineyard is probably 10 years ahead of us in terms of their crisis. And what's happening there is now that all their workers are coming in from other communities because they didn't act, they didn't do things quick enough. So that's why we have a housing production plan. You know, we have it in place to try and ward off the crisis. So, you know, people may not agree with the premise behind it, but we that work in the housing field see the critical need. We talk to people every week. We have a ready-to-buy list of about 30 people who are desperate, trying to raise their families with children in rental units, and their kids are in schools, and they're afraid they're going to get kicked out because the landlord's going to sell the home. We've had families that have had living in an 800-square-foot apartment with 2 children, you know, because they make quite a bit of money, but not enough, not over $200,000, which they need to support a home here. So we see the need. You may not see it the same way I do, but
We all know what the problem is. It would just, I mean, it still doesn't change the fact that you're selling $1 million home. Or
It's
whatever.
not $1 million
Well,
home.
In that lot, you could build $1 million home. So,
If you
I
look
mean,
at the budget, it's not
I
$1
have a
million
question.
home.
Laura, since you are a professional in housing, have we hit the 80 yet this year?
Pardon me?
Have we hit the 80 yet this year?
The 80, no.
What are we at?
I don't think we're anywhere near it, but
We're
I don't
nowhere
have
near
and I don't have an exact
With all
number.
the stuff we've approved this year, we're nowhere near it. Is
Because
it
they-
building permit, occupancy permit? What
It-
is the exact
It has
level?
to, once the comprehensive permit is issued, the
That
unit.
counts it there?
The unit goes on the SHI. But if a building permit isn't issued for a year, it comes off the SHI. So.
No, I mean the 80 a year, not mass housing, the 80 a year that Kim wants.
The 80 units per year
Yeah.
under the housing
And we're
production plan.
nowhere near 80.
Nobody knows what number we're at.
Nobody
either.
knows.
We never get an answer to this question.
No, and we ask
Never.
all the time and we never get an answer.
Well, I can find out.
I mean, this is, again, it's
Kind
not
of
as
irrelevant to
zoning,
this, but I mean,
the AMI, it seems like there's a lot more people that are just above that in the town.
Yes.
yes.
They will never get this house because they make too much.
Yes. But the issue here is that the lot needs a comprehensive permit. Because it needs a comprehensive permit, the state will only allow the home to be sold at 80% AMI. If the town had put it out for RFP as a duplex or a triplex, which, you know, you may not agree with this, but some people have said, why are you only building 1 unit there? Why aren't you building 2 units there?
And that might,
And the
Sell
reason
them
is that Mr. Cornock gave publicly was because the town was trying to be sensitive to the people of the neighborhood and to provide a 1 home, 3 bedrooms that fit in with the neighborhood. But this size lot, you could easily have had a duplex there. And 1 unit could have been up to 140% AMI, which would have covered people up to 200,000, and the other unit could have been 80% AMI. So again, you know, we're following what the select board has requested, what the staff has requested in this application. So I would hope that you would support it and grant the.
One way or the other, I mean, this basically fits on the lot. It complies with 40B. I think that I'm very concerned by only 3 years on the maintenance, because that's a major issue. Might as well just put a Title V in. And I would like to see, I'd like to know what the solution is beyond 3 years, because at this income level, it is difficult. It's going to be difficult for anybody to do this, especially with a family today, at this income level, to do these things. It's difficult for everybody today. So I'd like to know why you can't do more, or what is going to be done afterwards. Because you walk away, I don't mean this in that tone, and then what happens to the rest of the town? The town has a very serious nitrogen load. This is not gonna make that much difference. Next one.
None.
Right, next one. Very serious water shortage. And what we're trying to do is fill up every square inch of land in this town with housing, mostly this massive housing, not this one, some of the other stuff that we have to deal with. And no one seems to understand that what looks good today for producing some of this housing, 10 years from now is gonna be a major, major problem for this town because there's, so far as I can tell, nobody's coordinating between the two. So this one, it fits the law.
Yeah.
Do I like this sort of thing? Well, this one's not bad.
Yeah,
But-
but I can tell you, Mr. Petrucci, that the Falmouth Housing Trust monitors 29 for-sale homes. So this home, we will monitor as well. We do not get involved in the day-to-day lives of our homeowners because they're independent, they're working people, they have lives. But we do oversee things if something's going sideways. These IA systems have approvals from the Board of Health that require the inspections, and there's an enforcement mechanism. And the first person that's gonna get the call is me, from the health department, if there's an issue. If one of our homeowners has an issue, we will step in and try and resolve it. We don't abandon them, we don't leave, like you're suggesting. We stay involved in these homes because we feel that we should do that. We're a local developer and we want to support our first-time home buyers. We do the 3 years because there are 4 inspections required a year. And we've acknowledged that that is a cost burden at $1,500 a year. But $300 or $400 a year, I'm not sure that's a cost burden when a family's, making $120,000, $150,000 a year. But if anybody did have a problem with this, we would know about it and we would step in and work with them to resolve it. We don't leave. So,
You have a
we
budget for those things?
Pardon me?
You have a budget for such things?
We have a new projects fund that we maintain, cash on hand. We use it for all sorts of things relating to our mission of providing workforce housing in the town of Falmouth. But we also want to let the town know and the zoning board know that we are a responsible housing developer. I get calls all the time from our homeowners. Our contractor gets calls all the time, the guys that build the homes. We even have people call and say, is Shane coming to put my screens in? We say, no, he's not. They're your screens. So, but we stay involved with our first-time home buyers. We have a home buyer education program. Before these homes are sold, we require all our homeowners to have a Zoom meeting with us where we have a whole maintenance booklet of everything they need to understand about the home. After the home is sold, we, as I said, monitor things. We talk to them all the time. We're constantly emailing them. So, this issue about the operation and maintenance, I don't think it's as big of an issue as give them all of
Can
that.
you transfer the contract you have with that Clean Pro to the homeowner?
Yes. And
So
what
you
we
would-
do
You would
is
do that,
under,
something like that?
yes, so under our purchase and sale agreement, we put a septic system addendum, full disclosure on the nitro system, what's required. Each homeowner's Wi-Fi has to be given out to the Clean-To so that they can monitor the system remotely. So the system is being monitored remotely through the home's Wi-Fi. The homeowners agree to the O&M contract at closing, and we agree to cover the cost of it for the first 3
And
years.
the penalty is if they don't?
If they don't agree to the contract,
No, if they don't follow through with the contract.
then they don't get to buy the house.
No, I'm talking about once they're in.
After.
Do you take the house back if they don't do these things?
No,
No, I know that.
the Board of Health has a approval recorded in the title at the Registry of Deeds. that
So it would be the
requires-
town that would penalize
There's an
them.
enforcement issue
enforcement, I
with
should
the
say.
Board of Health. Like I said, the first call from Scott McGann would be to me. But Clean-To is also involved in these systems, and they have an interest. The county is now also developing a testing program for IA systems. So it's possible in 3, 4, 5 years, the county may be taking over these without cost to homeowners. So there's lots of things that are going on and changing in the field, but I can assure you that the Housing Trust is very much involved in this kind of thing, and we want to set our people up for success, not failure and not enforcement. So,
Anybody from the public want to comment on this? Go on up.
Chris Lebhurst from Falmouth. I'm here tonight with an abutter, Don Vay. He's at 89 Pheasant Lane. This is a fascinating conversation you folks are having tonight, and I'm picking up on what Mr. Finneran's talking about. He seems to be saying it's unfair. Everybody's paying their fair share, and you come in with a 40B, and you don't have to pay as much, yet you reap all the benefits. I've been in Falmouth my whole life, and I've seen a lot of these things change before I get to this particular application. But you hear it in the coffee shops. I see all of you around town. The usual debate is far too much density for a site versus the need for housing. And Attorney Moynihan very articulately made a very good case for the need for housing in this town. I think we all recognize that. But what I constantly hear and what I see right down here on Main Street is properties being developed under 40B to a density that is ridiculously more than would ever be allowed if it wasn't a 40B. So I think the real debate is, are we ultimately benefiting as a town or are we not? Certain people maybe are, but really it's a subject of intense debate. And I don't hear good things about what's going on a little bit further down Main Street. I don't know whether this board hears popular comment or not, but people who are now driving down towards, well, I guess we're heading in an easterly direction, but they're saying these are just very, very out of scale, large developments, and I don't think they're being favorably received in town. Nevertheless, there clearly is a balance and a need. So you folks are seeing this. I know you're seeing 40B after 40B, and I know that there are advocates here tonight for that sort of thing. This particular application, Mr. Vahey is at 89 Pheasant Lane, which is actually the abutter to the north. Is he happy about this? No, he's not. He's had a vacant lot to the rear of his property for many, many years, and he's always been told it's an unbuildable lot. And that's the other part of this that I think the board sometimes, I don't want to...
Documented unbuildable lot.
Correct. Now, I know there's some debate apparently tonight about whether it's buildable or not, but in my opinion, it shouldn't sit well with people that you can take an unbuildable lot and simply snap your fingers and say 40B and everything is buildable under the sun. Because that sort of runs in contravention to the zoning bylaw itself. So you have a lot of things to wrestle with, and I wish you luck. And I know Attorney Moynihan is doing her very best to help people in this town, and I know you're doing your very best to protect people in this town, and where that balance is, you're going to have to decide. With respect to this particular application, the one thing that stood out with me is Attorney Moynihan mentioned vegetation on the west side and the east side. She didn't mention the north side. That's my guy. My guy's the guy to the north. And he's been enjoying, a vegetated woodland there for many, many years. And someone says, you got a 40B now in your backyard. And he comes in here tonight and he's shown a site plan and it doesn't show any protected bordering vegetation on his side of the property. So I would start by saying, let's require it. And I'm sure my sister, my sister in the law business, I'm sure Attorney Moynihan, we use that term in law all the time.
Your dad wasn't a judge?
My sister. She's not literally my sister. You're not my brother. And I'm sure if she was my sister, we'd be having a family fight tonight. But there's got to be bordering vegetation planting on that north side. That's not fair to Mr. Vahey to do it on the east and do it on the west and ignore the north. Mr. Vahey's tapping me on the shoulder tonight. He's asking about the possibility of a garage. Because why would you want a garage? Because it's probably more in keeping with the neighborhood, and it probably cuts down a little bit on noise and activity, and so on and so forth. So it's really a multifaceted sort of debate here tonight, this particular project. But I sit in the back and I listen, and I'm like, wow, everybody's making really good points. And you know, I don't do a ton of this kind of work, but I can talk about it and ask the right questions, I think. You know, Mr. Vahey has mixed feelings. He wants to support 40B, and he wants to support residents in this town. But he also has had an unbuildable lot in his backyard, and this doesn't exactly make him happy. It doesn't. It certainly isn't going to increase the value of his property, and it certainly is going to have an impact on him. So this notion that you can take an unbuildable lot and just snap your fingers and say, well, 40B will cure that, that's what's going on around town. And I don't think it's right. I don't think it's, I just don't think it's right, along with some of these other things that I commented on earlier. So I would only ask that, depending on whatever the board decides to do with this project, will it please remember Mr. Vahey, the abutter to the north, because he deserves some protection too. Thank you.
Thank you.
You want to address that right now? Sure. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I'm not sure where his property is, but,
Is that 89? That helps.
In your
I can't
backyard.
remember the lot number, Laura, but he's immediately to the north. He would be in the backyard.
Is it listed as McNeil?
Yeah, it says McNeil.
okay, so here's a map showing the terrain for Pheasant Lane. So here's 21 here. This is 89. So this lot is about 100 feet in depth, so it looks like Mr. Vahey has quite a bit of woodland on his own property, including 95, which is really why we didn't think a buffer at the rear of the property was necessary, since those abutters to the north had substantial woodland on their property already. Certainly don't have any objection.
No, I would
to,
still do it anyway.
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing
you know,
to do.
it's just you're just limiting the backyard of the homeowner, which is kind of too bad, you know. But if you look at the plan, there is a reserve area that's 11 feet off the lot line from lot 6. So I think it's 30 feet from the bulkhead to the back lot line.
And so it's like almost 40 feet from the house, so
Yeah.
you could do a 5-foot strip of,
Yeah, I wouldn't have no problem with that.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to preserve the reserve area, so that's something that would help. We could certainly do that, and maybe the abutters to the north could keep their
Just-
own woodland as well.
go ahead, Tony has a question.
Just to finish up the conversation about bordering vegetated, not bordering vegetated wetlands, the buffers. You talk about maintaining a buffer, but we haven't talked about what you're gonna maintain it with. What's gonna be in that buffer that you're maintaining? Bittersweet, eastern red cedar, western red cedar, what's gonna be in the buffer?
The buffer would basically be staked. There would be a limit of work staked based on the plan, and anything outside of that limit of work would be untouched. It would be a naturally vegetated buffer. That's the way the board has conditioned the permits in the past.
Existing vegetation.
Yeah. So it's natural vegetation. We also try to work very carefully. This is a very heavily wooded property. We can't even really get in there to see what's in there. But during the construction, we would want to try and preserve whatever trees we could on the property.
And who will monitor those setbacks?
So the limit of work will be established before the site work starts. And typically that could be a condition of your permit, that DPW engineering comes out and inspects the limit of work, which is what you did on Bigelow Landing Road, because we imposed a naturally vegetated buffer areas there as well. We staked the limit of work. Once it was staked, DPW engineering comes out and signs off that it's staked where it should be. Then the site crew goes in and nobody touches anything outside of that limit of work. It just stays natural. That's how it works.
So that is not normally what this board does with these buffers, but I understand it's one single small home and you have a limited amount of money. And I guess as Hack would say, we cannot make this project uneconomic.
Yes, we also put the plan on record. We attach the plan to the purchase and sale agreement for the homeowner, so we make sure the homeowner is well aware that there's a deed restriction essentially in their deed with the plan, that these buffers have to be kept naturally vegetated. So it works because everybody's aware that we want to, we want to have a house in the neighborhood, but we have to have a lot of woods around it.
Speaking as just one member, not in. Speaking as one member, that plan does not ever work on these small lots. On large lots, yes. But 5 feet in the back is too small, and whatever that is, I don't see a measurement on it, the left and right side. This type of vegetated buffer never, ever works long-term. It's a very small lot. It should be planted, but I understand that costs a lot of money.
Well, if you have a deed restriction and it says in the deed restriction that the buffers have to remain naturally vegetated and somebody clears it, then they're doing it and it's subject to a problem for them. So we make sure that it's kept that way. But having said that, the reserve, we could propose the buffer from the edge of the reserve area to the north lot line, which might give it another 2 or 3 feet. Maybe that's 8 feet, whatever that is. I don't have a scale with me. But also, please look at the wooded areas on those 3 lots to the north. The homeowners there are in control of their own wooded buffer, so if they're concerned about somebody intruding into this wooded buffer, then they
Right. The interesting thing is they thought they were in control of this lot too because it was unbuildable. So nobody's ever in control anymore in the state. So
40B has been around since 1969.
it's an obsolescent 50-year-old
Right.
law that needs to be
But
changed.
if it wasn't for 40B, we wouldn't have affordable housing in this community at all. And any lot is buildable.
You have to speak to the microphone.
It's okay. Any parcel of land is buildable under 40B. That's the reality of it, subject to the approval of this board.
We know.
Right.
So,
Nobody knows more than
right.
us.
So
cry a
when real
lot.
estate brokers or others tell people it's not buildable, it's buyer beware. Unfortunately, you got to do your research.
Unfortunately, nothing is safe anymore. So anyway. So just-
Anybody else from the public have any questions? Come on up, Richard.
Richard Johnson, 1 Ambets Avenue. It's a general question. I've always been curious if a homeowner qualifies for this and purchases it, and 3 years down the road gets a much better job, and their income increases to $250,000 or $300,000 a year, what happens?
Let's let the 40B expert answer that one.
Nobody audits anything.
So unlike rentals with home ownership, it's the income, according to the state law, it's the income that applies at the time of purchase. So if somebody did all of a sudden go from earning $100,000 a year to $300,000 a year, they would still be permitted to live in the home. There's no mechanism to say you can no longer live in the home. I can tell you from doing this kind of work for 25 plus years that I've never seen that happen. Most of the people, all the people that we're dealing with are hardworking people who grew up, most of them grew up in Falmouth. They left Falmouth, they went to college, they went to the military, they went to the trades. They came back here to buy a home and raise their family here like they did. They did everything right. And they get into a rental apartment or they get into their parents' house. And unlike us, after a few years, they moved on. They're still in that rental apartment or they're still in their parents' house. the society has changed in our community, and these young people, these first-time homebuyers, are not the same first-time homebuyers we had 30 years ago. So the hardship is on these people that want to live here. They want to coach our kids. They want to teach our kids. They want to work in our fire departments. They want to be part of this community, but they don't want to be in a rental because they have a couple of kids, and the landlord might decide that their home has to be sold, or they don't want to renew the lease. So they have no housing security. So they leave the community to go buy somewhere they can afford. That's what we're trying to do here for these families. And I understand your concerns and your comments, and I appreciate them very much. But I hope you understand that when you're dealing with this day to day, and you see the hardships and you see the suffering that these people are going through and how difficult it is for them, that you might have some compassion to why this type of housing is so important.
I promise, last one for me. Many 40Bs as we've done, I believe I understand the law, and then all of a sudden you find some nuance that you just never saw before. But just tell me again. First of all, if I were assured that this was for a Falmouth, existing Falmouth resident, it would be a little more palatable. But I think I heard you say that you can't do that. You can't reserve this for a
Can't by
Falmouth.
law.
You can't by law.
No.
Unless it's all Falmouth money,
So that,
then it can be.
in the general scheme of things, I'll give you an example. There was a home on Beach Plum Path. It was a family from off Cape. The applied for a job as whether it was an EMT or dispatcher with the Falmouth Fire Department, who was desperate for employees. Same with the police department. He applied for the home, and he won the home, and he came to Falmouth and brought his family here and is now working in our community where he's needed. If that home hadn't been available that way, that opportunity would have been lost. And how do you discriminate against the young person that grew up here that can't afford to live here and rent an apartment here and is living off Cape somewhere, but wants to come back and wants to live here? So, there is no local preference here, but again, we always say that they will become a Falmouth family and contribute to the community in some way. And that's the whole point of just living here and having children here. You're contributing to the vitality of the community, so that when we're going to the playground or we're going downtown, we see young children running around and our schools continue to flourish. We have a problem in this community with the lack of young people and young children.
You all set? You have any other questions?
No.
I got one more.
Noreen, do you have anything? Anybody else from the public?
I got one.
Oh, you have one? Go ahead.
You said that you'll maintain things. I drove by your last project in Wacoit, and there's some trees there that seem pretty much dead to me and have been for a few months. I'm assuming you just haven't got to those yet?
Well, we were aware of that.
Yeah.
The shrubs in the front of the property didn't survive with the heat, but there's no point in planting now. So the plan is in the fall to get somebody in there to take care of that. That's the kind of thing that we do. Our Clancy Construction is very much devoted to their projects, as we are. They see things like that, they call me, say, hey, there's some shrubs that have died. We do something about it, and so that will be taken care of.
You can't plant right now. You die right again. What?
Right, they
Yeah,
need some
I agree
time,
with that.
so it'll be the fall.
You all set? Everybody else all set?
Yep.
Are you all set?
I am.
You want to say something? Come on up. Name and address, please.
Kate Asen. I'm the Chief Development Officer at Falmouth Housing Trust, and I live at 104 Woods Hole Road. And I visited Wacoit today. Excuse me. I was visiting with some of the families, and I've interviewed the family in the 3-bedroom. He's a National Guardsman that works at Otis, and they were living in their parents' basement in Hanover. They have 2 children, and out of the 5 homes that went in there, 3 of the homes have people that work at Falmouth Hospital, an ER nurse, a medical clerk, and 1 in nursing school who's going to be a future nurse for us, for you, to help take care of our aging population. We are very low on nurses. Our hospital has closed its pediatric unit, its maternity unit. We need medical staff that can live where they work. And in this neighborhood, we provided permanent homes for these 3 young nursing families, and a National Guardsman, and a FedEx worker, and a steamship worker, and a manager at the Windfall Market. These are your people. These are the people that live in the town, that help you at the bank, that teach your kids. And in this neighborhood, we also have 6 children who are now enrolled in Falmouth Public Schools. The enrollment of the high school can hold 1,600, and it currently has 800. So we are trying to create a community where we care about keeping our workforce here. It's not about bringing in people from all over the country and who aren't going to fit into the community. It is about taking care of us, because the EMTs, the teachers, the nurses, they do take care of us, literally, physically, and we need them. The hospital is in desperate need, and the nurses that are commuting over the bridge, they don't want to anymore. They want to live here, they want to be part of things, and they want their children to go to school. So these projects are real people, they're real families, they're not statistics. And Falmouth Housing Trust is celebrating 40 years this year. We've been around since 1986, and do a really good, successful job at it. Thank you.
Great, thank you. So you all set, Maureen? Do you have anything? I think we can close.
Well, motion that we close, Madam Chair.
Yeah.
I'll second.
We have a motion, you're all set? You're all set? Okay. We have a motion to close and a second. Guys all set to vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none. All right, so we're closed for that one. Thank you.
Now you need to determine what you're going to do next.
For a future date.
Well,
Yes.
Okay.
So you want to determine that you want a draft decision,
Yeah.
what type of draft decision you want, and then if there's any particular findings or
yes, I
Okay.
would make a motion to make a draft affirmative
Yes. I'll second.
decision. But that's gonna get voted on too, so.
Can we email you our findings, and or we do it at
Or
a hearing?
if
We'll
there's
do it at a
any-
hearing?
If there's any you have now, that's fine as well.
Okay.
Do we have to vote on that?
No,
We don't have to vote.
we don't have to vote tonight. We can just vote to close, and we can continue it
Well,
to a
you
day.
can vote for the draft decision.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, because you might not pass.
And do we have a date?
September 24th.
September 24th?
Yep.
Is that okay with you, Laura?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So this, I'll take a motion to continue to, I'll make the motion to continue
I
to
got a
September
motion right now
24th.
for the draft, right? Don't we have to vote
Yes,
for that first?
Sue has made a motion.
So we
And
need
I
a s-
second. So we'll do that one first. All those in favor of affirmative draft? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And then I'll make a motion to continue to September 24th.
Second.
With a second by Tony. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. So we'll finish that up on the 24th.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening.
All right, next at bat, we have 04226 Falmouth Housing Trust and Falmouth Housing Corporation at 0 Locustfield Road. together. Just trying to keep everything together here. All right, I have to start, right? All right, we have 21 no, we already did that one. Beep, 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 beep. Sorry. We're doing 0 Locust Field. It's another 40B. The zoning district is an AG, agricultural. It's in an WRPOD and a migration. It's also nitrogen sensitive. Lot size is 5.4 acres. Proposed will be 5.4 for the structure and 17.8 for everything, including the driveway and all that. And we have 40 rental units, 6 home ownership units. It's providing 73 parking is required. It's providing 75. We got many referrals from building, water, affordable housing, engineering, and a few others. We had 5 people that are happy about this plan. And that's what we have for my opener.
Do you want to read the notice into the record, just so the
Oh, the notice,
audience
yes.
knows what's before?
I can do that. Let's find the notice. Just the whole thing here? Application 04226, Falmouth Housing Trust, Inc., and Falmouth Housing Corporation and Affirmative Investments, Inc. It's 17 Academy Lane, Suite 1, Falmouth, Mass. Apply to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a comprehensive permit pursuant to Chapter 40B to construct 2 connecting buildings with 40 units plus 3 duplex buildings with 6 units, totaling 46 units. All units will be affordable. The subject properties are 0 Locust Field Road. Do I need to do map numbers and all that? Okay. Sorry, I'm a bench warmer for Frank tonight.
Doing a good job.
I'm trying to hang in there. So take it away, whoever's doing this one, I don't know. Thank you.
Okay, so for the record, you get me again, Laura Moynihan, I'm attorney for the Falmouth Housing Trust and executive director, in-house counsel. Kate Asen is our development officer who's here. We also have our development partners, Linda Clark, who's the president of the Falmouth Housing Corporation, and Tara Mizrahi, who's the vice president of Affirmative Investments in Boston, and Virginia Coffey, who's our project manager with Affirmative Investments. Tim Santos here, our engineer from Merrill Engineering. Ben Wan was not able to be here tonight. He is our architect from Rohde Architects in Boston, who's done a lot of the site design and architecturals for the rental project. So I will present Locust Field Woods to you. Just before we get going, just wanted to do a little bit of a project overview. Again, this is a town disposition of land for affordable housing, recommended under the Housing Production Plan. It was voted by town meeting to dispose of the land for housing, and the select board issued the RFP requesting the development proposals that provided the mix of home ownership and rental, variety of income ranges, and included advanced treatment septic system. So our development team designed a project in response to the wants and desires of the town, and that proposal was accepted by the select board. After the RFP was awarded to our development team, we applied for the comprehensive permit. After the comprehensive permit was filed, we started some community outreach, and we had a neighborhood meeting met with a lot of the neighbors in a group session at the Scranton, Maine Apartments. We had probably 30 neighbors, maybe 25, 30 neighbors came out. Subsequent to that, we met with the Kellehers, who are here tonight, who are the direct abutter to the south. Couple of meetings, 2 meetings with the Kellehers. And the results of all of those meetings were that we made some changes to the plans, which were filed with the board in or around August 11th. So the plans we're showing you are substantially the same in terms of the rental buildings, what they look like, the duplexes, what they would look like. Basically, what we did was shift the project further to the north so that we could expand the wooded buffer to the south. And I'll go through that and explain it to you, but the plans that you have in your file and the ones I'm showing you are dated August 2026. Those are the current plans. We felt that it was important to do that right away because that was in response to the neighborhood concerns. They wanted to see that wooded buffer on the south increased. So we did that. We now have about 2.4 acres of open space on the project.
May I interrupt?
Yeah, I have to interrupt. My
Yeah.
plans say July?
Yeah, I don't have, what was the date we're supposed to be looking at? I've got July 6th,
Yeah.
revision 8/11.
Tim can comment on that.
For the record, Tim Santos from Merrill Engineers. If you look in the top right-hand corner, there's a revision date.
Yep.
Where is it?
Where? Does it say 8/11?
8/11.
Yep, you have the right
Mine's
ones.
blank.
Don't mind.
No, mine's blank. It's up here. I saw it. Mine's blank.
Try the next page. That's the cover page.
Revisions, mine are blank as well.
Let me see yours. No, so that's blank too. It's this one here.
Oh, okay. All right. So I can still
What?
use it, I guess?
I would-
The old one?
would not-
It's way up here, Mark.
We
It
need
doesn't
this-
say anything though.
Madam Chair,
Tim's
just
trying to
says-
trick us.
It just says revisions, there's no date
Madam Chair,
on mine, anyway.
as the presentation going,
No
we just
big.
need to establish this is the plan we're looking at.
Yes.
And it is the date, is the Merrill Plan revision date 8/11/26.
I don't
Everything
have
else
that.
I don't have that either.
is no good?
They
Maybe
have been
there's some in here.
updated.
So this one hasn't.
You got one?
Right.
Maybe there's one in here.
I got an electronic, please.
They were updated and filed, as I said, in or around that date. We wanted to get them in to you, so you had plenty of
No
time.
shortage.
I know, there's a lot of paper. But we did feel it was important, before we opened the hearing, to have those issues addressed for the neighbors. So, that's why you have those revised plans.
There's none in there.
Okay. There we go.
Okay.
Okay?
You got that on your, I got it.
So the project is 40,
Computer anyway.
proposes 40 rental
So damn
units. The RFP requested that, up to 46 units. Variety of incomes, 30 to 100%. The limited dividend organizational status is by regulatory agreement with HLC. 6 homeownership units in the 3 duplex buildings. Those will be constructed by Falmouth Housing Trust. 80 to 140% area median income.
Can I interrupt again for a
Yeah.
second? I still don't have my plan. It's making me nervous. Is there a lot of changes that I need to be aware of? Or can I just kind of go by this? Oh, you have one? You can have the old one. Thanks.
Everybody have
No,
I
Mark
have
doesn't have one either.
No, I have one.
Oh, you found one?
found it
Okay,
in
good.
the-
I'm good, I got it.
Thank you, I'm sorry.
Only have a 5-inch stack of stuff.
I know. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry
All
to
right.
interrupt.
No, that's okay. I'm glad we got that.
Thank you.
So, as I said, the
Thank you.
homeownership units, Mr. Haney's comment from the prior hearing, here you're looking at 80 to 140%, so a range of area median income. And both the Housing Corporation and Falmouth Housing Trust are tax-exempt charitable nonprofit organizations. The Falmouth Housing Trust is a home ownership entity, and the Falmouth Housing Corporation is a rental housing entity. And Affirmative Investments is the financial brilliance behind the machine. So, because these projects, when you get into the multi-million dollars, are very complicated with the financial structure. So we have received the project eligibility from HLC. We have a signed land disposition agreement with the select board, where the town is agreeing to transfer the land for this project, subject to receipt of permits. It's 5.4 acres over 2 lots and a road parcel. Agricultural A, Water Resource Protection District, currently vacant, close proximity to the high school and the new YMCA proposed. Not in a coastal pond overlay, not in a flood hazard zone, not in a mapped natural heritage area. No wetland resource areas have been identified. The 40 rental units, there'll be 14 one-bedroom units, 22 two-bedrooms, 4 three-bedrooms, and the square footage is here. There'll be 1 connected lobby with a lounge, community room, mail and package, work pods, fitness room, bike room, outdoor, and an outdoor walking path. In the rental building, 2 elevators, 4 units will be designed to Group 2 ADA standards for accessibility. All units will be visitable for HLC standards, designed for passive house standards and solar ready. Gross square footage of the rental building is 48,063 square feet. Lot coverage by structure over lot 5, you'll see on your plan that because this is an approved subdivision, on the Merrill plans, you'll see 2 lots, lot 5 and lot 4. Lot 5 is the rental lot. Lot 4 is the home ownership lot. That's already been an approved plan, approved by the planning board. So we're not asking for a plan division approval. Lot coverage by structure, paving, and parking, 40.2% over lot 5. 60% of that lot will remain as open space wooded area. On the unit description, this is in your package. It's a lot of information, I know, but it just gives you an idea of the bedroom counts, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom. The Falmouth Housing Corporation works to keep their rents as low as they possibly can. This is compared to median rent that we've seen from Realtor.com at $3,500 a month, but this is an example of the rents proposed for the units. On the home ownership side, Clancy Construction has done the design for this duplex building. It's been designed to be a duplex that doesn't look like a duplex. So we felt that that was something that we wanted to start proposing, was to be able to provide housing for 2 families in 1 structure. It reduces the construction costs. It also allows for smaller units of about 1,100 square feet. So 5 2-bedroom units at about 1,100, 1 3-bedroom unit at about 1,350 square feet. Storage in the basement and the 2nd floor, separate porches and entrances for each unit. When you're looking at those plans, you can look at them carefully and you'll see that their entrances, one is at the front and one is at the side, and those are separate unit entrances. Lot coverage over lot 4 by structure is 5.4%. Overall is 18.3%. So the majority of lot 4 will be preserved as naturally vegetated area. The bedroom counts, the estimated sale prices for the 80%, 2 80% AMI units, $285,000, 2 100% AMI units, $325,000, 1 2-bedroom at 140% AMI, and 1 3-bedroom at 140% AMI at $400,000. So the architectural elements, if Ben was here, he could probably explain this in a lot more glowing terms than me, but I am a lawyer, so we stick to the facts. Anyway, it's a creation. The idea was to create a village-like neighborhood, hence the name Locustfield Woods, with clustered buildings to try and preserve as much privacy of the neighbors as possible and preserve as much open space as possible. The landscape emphasis is on drought-tolerant native plantings. The rental architectural building is, we're trying to respond to the wooded location, taking a modern approach to Cape design with shingles, wood look panels, pitched gable roofs, window trim, and more. The home ownership duplexes, as I mentioned, appear as a single-family Cape-style home while maintaining the privacy for each owner. The home ownership units that are placed closer to Locust Field Road are placed closer to Locust Field Road to try and fit into the surrounding single-family residential neighborhood. Even though it's zoned agricultural A, you'll see from the GIS maps that it's largely single-family homes. And the rental building is placed deeper on the lot to maintain a wide buffer. This is an overview, architectural overview of the project site, showing the entryway that you see on your plans here, the first curb cut coming in. There's a cul-de-sac set up for the home ownership duplexes, 1, 2, and 3. And the entrance also serves the rental building, and the main entrance to the rental building is here. And there's also 2 other curb cuts proposed off the access road to serve the rental building and the parking area. And this is a project site view from the main driveway coming in. You see in the foreground the homeownership duplexes. The school bus is there because we are proposing a school bus stop right at that first curb cut, so the children can be picked up right on site and dropped off. And this is the rental units from the front driveway, the main entrance to that building. And here it is from the lawn area. And these elevations are in your file, showing the color schemes proposed and the materials, some of the exterior materials, the architectural asphalt shingle roofing, manufactured stone, granite stone base, etc. So all of this is in your file. Home ownership units, this is the what we call the 2-2, so it's 2 two-bedroom units in the duplex, all 4 elevations. And the 2 3-bedroom duplex, which is the 1 unit is a 2-bedroom and 1 unit is a 3-bedroom. And the difference really is this portion of the structure here, which is the 3rd bedroom on the main.
Can you go back to the siding? What's the granite stone base? What's that? Where's that going to be used?
So on this plan, on the rental unit elevations, there's a key here. Granite stone base is the gray, and should be on here somewhere. Below the siding at the baseline. Okay. So down here at the bottom.
Oh,
Yeah.
like a storm
Yeah.
edge.
Yeah. Thank you. Here are some sample interiors of the rental lobby for the rental building, and samples of the community room for the rental building. These are some sample interiors for the homeownership unit kitchen, and also a rental kitchen. This is another rendering of the sample homeownership unit kitchen, showing the actual layout that Clancy did, and the living dining room area. These are not exact, but it's just there to give you an idea of the materials, the quality of the materials, quality of the construction. So the engineering elements, this is for the central turnaround for fire trucks, school bus drop-offs. You do have in your file a referral from the fire department that was filed this morning saying they have some issues, but they didn't say what they were. So we are looking at scheduling a meeting with them on Monday, but Linda Clark did speak to them today. It doesn't sound like it's a major project design issue. It's more just things that they want worked out. One of the things was talked about was curbing, but we'll get to the bottom of that.
And they have enough land to satisfy their needs, whatever they may be.
Yes, we just need to find out what their issues are. Mass stormwater design standards and drainage improvements are on the plans. There's a drainage calculations have been provided. Pedestrian amenities on the site and the connection of Locust Field Road. 2 common IA denitrifying septic systems, one for the home ownership property, which will be a condominium development, and one for the rental. We've given you the bedroom calculations, so we're looking at 7,700 gallons per day of flow. That, both these systems will have to be approved by the Board of Health.
Now, I know this isn't in the coastal pond overlay, but can anybody guarantee me that the APCC, is that who objected to Sandwich Road, is not gonna do the same thing here?
Well,
Can
this,
anybody?
this is
No.
in a different, this is in the Cape Cod Commission referral that's in your file. They talk about this. It's in the Little Sippawisset Marsh watershed, which is not a designated watershed. Doesn't have a total daily load. The Sandwich Road project was in, I believe, the Green Pond watershed that has a determined and designated total daily nitrogen load. This district does not have it. And you also have from the Cape Cod Commission, they looked at, they say in their referral that they feel that the property is far enough away from Long Pond to not have effects on Long Pond.
May I ask you a
And-
question?
Yep,
Before you go on, and I apologize, I know you,
that's okay.
this is not in a DEP nitrogen-sensitive area, is that what you're saying?
It's in a nitrogen, pretty
It
much
is
the whole
everywhere.
town is in
Yeah,
a
I
nitrogen-sensitive area.
thought I
Yeah,
didn't hear you
it's
correctly.
the watershed.
Yeah.
So the town now has designated watersheds all over town. And they're all divided up by boundaries. Some of them have determined total daily nitrogen load, maximum loads. Some of them do not. This one does not. It's in the Little Sippawisset Marsh watershed. Sandwich Road project that you were looking at was in the Green Pond watershed, which has a designated total daily nitrogen.
Now, is that because they haven't gotten to it yet? I'm sorry,
I
used to
don't
be
know the
more
reason for
informed.
that. I just looked at
Now, this is
the
an
maps.
this is an east-west flow, right? With the groundwater?
This is, okay, so, I don't know why they haven't designated the nitrogen load for this watershed. But all I know is because of the distance from the property to Long Pond, which is in this watershed, we should be far enough away, according to the experts, that we're not impacting Long Pond. The fact that it's not designated for total daily nitrogen load, there are few that are not designated, is telling me that it's not a high impact area like others that have designated loads. Which kind of makes sense if you look at the large tracts of land that are in that watershed. And I can file those maps for you if you'd like to have. Existing conditions plan. So again, as I mentioned, you have a road parcel to the north here, approved by the Falmouth Planning Board under a subdivision approval. You have Lot 4, which is the home ownership lot, and Lot 5, which is the rental lot. And
Now, is that the
Laura?
existing?
Can I ask first?
Yeah.
Where the stakes are, is that where the road is going in?
yes.
Yeah, the stakes say
The stakes
center
we saw
line.
today? Was that a wellhead that I saw there,
I don't believe.
where those
it.
three white pipes were?
I can answer.
Yeah.
If you look right where this mouse is right here,
Yeah.
is it's a monitoring well.
I thought it was a
Yeah.
monitoring well, the black thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and just so the
That's what
board
it's
knows, and I'm not sure if we sent the
What
state.
does it
this-
monitor?
I don't know that answer. I'm assuming it probably had something to do with Lawrence Lynch's pit at one point in time.
It's dead now?
Don't know.
We don't know?
I don't know. We could look into that, but
Okay.
it's in the road layout.
Okay, so we'll just wait on the pier for that. I was just wondering, I was
Uh,
trying to judge where the road
Yeah,
went in
so
when I went up
we
there.
staked all the center lines of the driveway.
Okay.
We did stake all the property corners, and we did stake all the building corners.
I wasn't gonna get any
But
poison ivy.
it's super thick.
Oh,
so,
yeah. And it goes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was all staked out.
thank you.
Who owns that road that's there now? And is that on this property?
So the road is owned by the town of Falmouth. Okay, so this is the existing conditions plan. Here's the actual paved roadway coming
Yeah.
in off the curb cut.
Well, when you go down that paved road, about 5 feet to the right are his stakes that say center line.
CL, yeah.
So, you're gonna make that road wider?
So on the site plan, we'll just answer your question first. This is the existing road. So some of it is on the land of the town, and some of it actually crosses over into land owned by Lawrence Lynch. So our proposal is to use the beginning portion of the road and basically modify it and change it.
Shift it to the right.
And shift it to the right.
Does anybody else have the right to it?
So Lawrence Lynch has a right, an easement over it. The town granted an easement over the road for access to the solar property that's to the east. There's a very large property that,
Yep.
that was approved by the planning board for solar.
Overlay.
So this is the GIS map down in here.
So that's, on the other side of the, power line
High-tension
easement?
wires.
The
Yeah.
power line
Yeah.
goes roughly, through in this area here. I think it includes the power line, but the solar is on the east side of it. So this whole property, the reason why basically Lawrence Lynch applied to have the subdivision plan approved. Town got the benefit of that in the documents that are recorded, the definitive plan decision and the site plan review decision. The town required certain things to be done, build the road to subdivision standards for the first 200 feet. We'll give you an easement. So the improvements that you see on the road were done by Lawrence Lynch or their agents for the purpose of constructing the solar.
So that's where the legal frontage is?
The legal frontage for lots 4 and 5 is off of that road, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's approved under Mass General laws, and there is a subdivision approval.
Is it an A&R or subdivision approval?
It was a definitive plan subdivision approval, and you should have the decision in your file. I believe we filed it with the application. If not, I'll double check and get that to you if you want. But it was approved in 2020. So this piece here is what we call the road parcel, which is a subdivision road. This is lot 4, and these are both approved lots. What we did was design the project to fit within these already approved lots. So lot 4 would be conveyed by the town to the Falmouth Housing Trust for the purposes of building the home ownership side of the project. And lot 5 would be conveyed to the Falmouth Housing Corporation for the purposes of building the rental side of the project. Both projects will share amenities. The Falmouth Housing Corporation will own the road parcel, and the home ownership lot will have an easement over it.
Are those roads in the 4 and 5 going to be subdivision roads too? Regulations?
No.
So no bus can go in there?
Yeah, the bus can go in as long as it meets the turning standards. So that's what we have to review with the fire department.
There's no active pit there anymore?
To the north?
Yeah, north.
So there is property in here that is the sand and gravel pit owned by Lawrence Lynch.
Still active, yeah?
It's active. Our understanding is that it's on a limited basis. It's overflow. But it is a permitted sand and gravel pit.
So there will be large trucks
Yes.
in and out of there?
There could be. There also has been some suggestion that it might be, and this came from, again, Jed Kornak publicly, indicating that there was some suggestion it might go to solar as well. But,
It might what?
Go to solar as well. But we can't represent that. We don't have any information on that. But that's what Jed Kornak told the select board. So I don't know where that's coming from.
Since
But
you mentioned solar, if you don't mind me asking, we look at the rental units
yeah.
with large expanse of roof line, and we have very expensive electricity in town. How come no solar?
think?
Yeah. How come no, I know you keep utilizing the term solar ready, but you haven't looked into it a little bit deeper to better understand the opportunity for solar
Well,
on the rental unit?
The roof The roof structure is always designed to accommodate it. So but it's an after, almost like an after project. So, there's a whole financing part of going into that, putting the package together, who's gonna build it, how it's gonna be built. So it's a very complicated and expensive process to do the solar design for this purpose of a comprehensive permit. If the comprehensive permit is issued, then at that time, the developer looks into starting the solar,
Okay. Understand.
rolling. But to design it for a comprehensive permit application is a very involved, expensive process. But that's why we say solar ready.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so again, this is what we were talking about, approved subdivision road and curb cut for the site access. Here's a picture of the road looking out towards Locust Field Road at the curb cut. There was a definitive plan decision, as I mentioned. 3 cuts proposed off the quote access road, 2 two-way and 1 exit only. You have a traffic impact study in your file. The traffic engineer calculated 19 AM peak hour trips and 14 PM peak hour. There are built-in trip reduction features to reduce car dependency, pedestrian paths, bike storage, a fitness and community room, on-site laundry. There are no adverse impacts on the existing roadways per the traffic study conclusion. The parking, we meet the required parking on the homeownership side. It's 1.5 spaces per 1-bedroom unit and 2 spaces per 2+ bedroom units. So 12 are required for home ownership and 73 for rental. And we've provided 14 for home ownership and 75 for rental, including 5 handicap spaces. These are the housing production plan goals. We've talked about these tonight. This will add 42 units to the subsidized housing inventory. It will add a mix of rental and home ownership with different unit sizes and tiers of income. It is the maximum number of units allowed under the RFP on the town-owned land, and the prioritization of affordable rental units, 40 will be created on the site. Local comprehensive plan goals, infill development, 46 units on 6.1 acres, encouraging the market to create multiple housing opportunities, and accepting responsibility for providing housing for people at all stages of life and all levels of income. That is in our local comprehensive plan. So we have the income tiers, and as of May 26, Falmouth, according to HLC, was at 8.56% on the SHI. The waivers, there is a 3-page document, I think, in your application that goes into the discussion of the waivers in detail, so I'm just going to highlight them here. The building height for the rental building, 35 feet is the required height. 40 feet is the architectural height from the base of the grade of the building, first floor, to the highest peak. The building height in Falmouth has to be measured from the average grade from the street, which normally works out fine. But in this particular case, where you have this severe topography up and down on the property, the average grade from the street kind of skews the building height measurement. So the technical measurement is 46.9 feet. So this is why we're talking about the 40 feet from the architectural height of the building. Now, this building is set back well on the site. It has 3 stories. So again, the decision to keep the building height down means clearing more land. And so we felt the 3 stories was something that was appropriate, given the location of the rental building, well back in the property. Multifamily use, 46 units. The front yard setback for the northern duplex building. So this is where the plans changed in August. Technically, because there's a road parcel there on the northern duplex, a 25-foot setback would be required because it would be considered the front yard, even though it's really physically the side yard on that building. We originally had that setback, I think, closer to 20 feet, but because of the shift from the south to try and preserve more wooded buffer, that setback has been reduced to 8.5 feet.
Can you go back to the first one?
Yep.
So, that 46.9 from the average grade, that's the average grade of the whole lot
From the street.
from the street?
So because it's dipping.
Dips and, yeah,
It's a difficult meassurement
yeah,
on this kind of
I
topography,
understand now. So, the 40 feet is really
is the height.
the, okay.
So it's, you know, it's a
Yeah.
technical measurement, the way we do it in Falmouth. A lot of towns don't measure building height that way. They just take the architectural height. But Falmouth has always had this average grade from the street building height measurement. And like I say, most of the time it doesn't really make a big difference. Here, when you have these, changes in grade that are significant, it's making it.
So it's the average mean grade? Is that the term?
It's the average, from the average grade of the street.
Yeah, I think in engineering parlance, it's average mean grade, which is what I understand. But just want to make sure it's clear.
So it affects here, and if you were on a hill, it would have the
Yeah.
same.
The front yard setback for the rental building, again, this was a larger setback originally, but because of the shift, it's at 37 feet. Rear setback from the rental building, 100 feet required, 47.7 feet provided. And the lot coverage by structure, pavement, and parking on lot 5 is slightly over the 40% at 0.2%. I made a note here that waivers from subdivision requirements are not needed if a subdivision approval is not required. That's under the 40B regulations, 56.057. That's why our waiver list does not include waivers from subdivision regulations that you might normally see in a subdivision. And we do have an approved subdivision here. The Affordable Housing Committee voted in support of the application in May. CPC voted in support in June. Funding has been received or approved from the Falmouth Affordable Housing Fund on June 29th. $925,000 for the home ownership units and $4 million for the rental project.
No Peter Johnson Staub approving that up there? That's supposed to mean something to us.
So that is our presentation, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have. I do just want to point out on the referrals, we've got the engineering referral. We expect there will be peer review. We'll go through that as well. One of the factors that's important here to this project is the timing. The state funding round, or the state funding round for the project has an application deadline of December 3rd. They require a comprehensive permit for that funding application to be issued. So while we understand the board may want peer review and we expect that, we're just hoping that maybe we can expedite that as quickly as given.
So,
We'll fit it into our schedule.
so if
We
we,
got 5 open ones
I
right now.
have to make the request.
Yes.
I
So-
understand you're busy.
if we approve these 40, whatever, I mean, 46.
We're still not gonna be anywhere near 80, because we're never gonna hit 80.
No, but we are going to get close to the
We don't even,
SHI.
I mean, it would be nice if somebody gave us a number, maybe
never-
next time.
We can never go.
It's just, it's pretty frustrating.
Well, how many
Especially after the
applications?
experience we went through.
It's 8.56 right now.
How many applications have
Yeah,
you
that's,
approved
that's
this
the,
year?
that's the,
How many
yeah,
units
relative
have you
to the
approved?
10%. I'm talking about the 80.
Hicks, Habitat. What other
So
ones have we done
you
this
may
year?
have approved 20, 30 units this year
Acapesket.
at 80%
40, I
AMI.
think.
Only the 80% AMI units count on the SHI. So if you've approved 30 units this year since
I
January,
think we've
roughly,
done, I don't even know how many, it's all.
you know,
More
this,
than that, I think.
this is
Definitely more than
46,
that.
and you're looking at close to 80 by the end of the year. Should be great. meet the housing production plan.
And you're after several other ones, so maybe we'll hit it.
Yeah,
What-
but ours is 100% affordable.
Maybe they'll take it away.
Deed restricted.
So Noreen, how fast can we get the peer reviews done? That's kind of critical path, right, for us and the applicant?
So we have a proposed contract from them, and I think I just need to double check to see if their peer contract proposed complies with what the town's engineering is looking for, but separate from that would just be getting it signed. So if there's a
Did you see who hustled that,
potential-
Laura?
I know she
Did
did.
you
I
see who
a-
hustled that?
I asked her and she
There's
was right on
a
it.
potential, I could check with the peer engineer to see if he could make the next meeting. It's a possibility.
Okay.
Just depends on the site.
That'd be good. Good.
Any questions?
We're doing
Yeah,
questions.
let's
You
do
want to start off, Mark, or do you want, give Nick the throne for a sec? Let's let him start.
I'm good right now.
You're all
See some
set?
peer
Go ahead,
reviews.
Tony. You can go.
What I think I heard that there is a monitoring well in the roadway. Has a phase one been done?
We have done a phase one.
Phase one came up with nothing with regarding that monitoring well.
No, did not, and no issues on the phase one,
And will
environmental
if-
issues.
There's no issues on that, but yet there may be an issue because no one knows what that well is. So the phase one may not be accurate. Do we need to go to a phase two and determine what it is? Or just
Well,
let your engineer determine what it is? and
we'll
report
find
back?
out the status of that
Yeah.
well. We'll see what,
Because
what's up
it's
with
going to
that.
go to groundwater pollution and whatever that may mean, and I have no idea what that
It-
means.
The property's owned by the town, so it could be that that well has been put in there for any number of reasons, right? It's not private property. If, if it's something to do with an abutter is doing, why isn't it on the abutter's property, right? It's on the town-owned land. So, but we'll get to the bottom
Well,
of
you know
it.
how gradients can go, but
Yeah.
we,
We'll find out.
as a board, are not allowed to speculate, and so we're gonna not want you to speculate on that whole thing. So someone's gonna look into that. Are
Okay.
all of the rental units gonna be on the SHI? Because they're all different
The
AMI.
anything up to 80% will
So
be
anything
on,
above the 80% is not on the rentals.
not on the SHI. Excuse me, all rental
All
units
rental units.
go on the
So that is
SHI,
correct.
yeah, under the regulations, yeah.
Because we
But not
really-
all the condos.
Because we really do
Not the
need,
homeownership.
we need housing at that 140, 100, above that. So the houses, not all the houses will be on the SHI,
That's correct. Only-
above 80%.
There'll be 2 on the SHI on the houses and
Yeah.
40 on the rental side, so 42 units.
One of the things that, can I go on?
Yeah, go for it.
One of the things that, I went to a planning board meeting, and I think everybody by now, the newspaper understands that the water department is very concerned about diminishing water supply in this town. And the more units of housing we have, the more people we have, that is potentially further diminished. We've all heard the Board of Health at the same meeting, the planning board, talk about nitrogen load and the dangers of nitrogen load. We know we're under a DEP mandate. We know that DEP and Mass Housing, or Executive Office, they don't coordinate and really don't care with regard to these things. However, this board has to determine if there are any valid, because these are the words that HAC uses, a valid local concern related to health, safety, and environmental protection. Use those words every single time. So, in order to get to that point and understand better what does it really mean that we're having a diminishing water supply? How will this project, and I'm not sure we can talk about other projects in conjunction, I don't think we can, but how does this project contribute to that? And the same thing with the nitrogen load. Now, you have 7,700 gallons a day going in, which will be theoretically covered by your IA system, maybe down to 10, I don't even know what it is, 10 milligrams per liter, I don't know. In order for this board to understand whether or not it has a valid local concern related to the safety and health of this community, which is part of what the ZBA does, we really need to hear from our water department, our Board of Health, and really wastewater management. There is nothing that I am currently aware of that exists any particular depth in the files that speaks to this. And I can only speak as one board member. And I'm a voting board member on this, so I don't know how I could vote positively on something like this without understanding if there is in fact a valid local concern, a concern related to health, safety, and the environment. So at some point in time, I think we need to get subject area experts in here, whether it be our peer engineers to answer these questions, or I would, since the water department wrote the letter, a very, very comprehensive letter, the Board of Health, the planning board, a very good view of what's going on. We need to have those folks come here, or at least write something up and give to us, so we can evaluate that.
Right, and you do have the referral from the water superintendent in your file. I spoke with him myself very recently.
Yesterday, yesterday, we got it.
Yeah, I spoke with him last week, but he has no objections to the project.
So my question won't be, does he have an objection to it? My question will be more in depth. If you don't object to it, but tell me exactly, what does this mean? If you're concerned, not you, but the water department's concerned about diminishing water supply, what does that mean as it relates to this? Now, he has no objection, but we still have to figure out whether or not there is a valid concern in this. And that's, as far as this member is concerned, is not in depth enough. So I'm going to hope that we can get more on that.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, we certainly expected that there'd be some comments on that, but I think if you look at the context of the water superintendent's comments to the planning board, they were directed towards zoning bylaw changes for Mr. Cod and duplexes by right, which could create an unknown or uncertain number of additional housing units in the community where perhaps there had not been an evaluation in terms of what the impacts of that are. Here you have a very different situation where you have a finite number of housing units and you have your water superintendent giving you a positive referral and saying he has no objection. So I think we need to kind of look at it.
He is very specific to this project.
Yeah.
Correct.
And until there's a flow test, I mean, that can't be,
No, I'm talking
that
about
can't
the
be
water, I'm talking
stated.
talking about the water supply issue
That's what I'm talking about.
that Mr. Petrucci has brought up.
Exactly, we understand.
Well, I'm going to
Has there
hope,
been a flow test done yet?
yeah, we've got, so hopefully we're going to get to that,
So,
maybe not tonight.
Nobody
but
can
Yes.
answer
as we
perfectly.
I'm going to hope this board, I'm just one member, I'm going to hope this board will push ahead on that and see what we can get. Because we have to determine these things, particularly since there's so much going on. We only talk about your project, but we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, what is it, 4 I think now? Projects that we have to consider. We can't necessarily consider them in total, but because, common sense doesn't really work with 40B.
Not for a minute.
Not for a minute.
Can I quote you on that?
Yes.
No, I don't want to be in trouble. We're on TV, so
Yeah.
that's my concern
Okay,
for the moment.
well, I think you have, I don't know if Scott McGann issued a referral, but I can certainly chat with him
He
a
is
little
not.
bit more about getting something to you. I mean, that is the process. You rely on your peer review and you rely on referrals, so we can help move that along to get that information to you.
And I appreciate that, but I'm looking for this one member's looking for something a little more in-depth, and we don't have a problem. I know why you don't have a problem. That's our job, is to make that determination.
Well, I think that it's globally, whatever the issues are in the town of Falmouth, if you have evidence from your experts and your staff that they're not site-specific to this property, I'm not sure what more we can do to satisfy that concern.
And that's why we would want to have somebody here, so that we, each of us, can question, because one answer gets another question. It goes on and on and on.
I don't have the authority to require staff members to come.
And I realize that. I'm expressing this to you now
Yeah, I
because it's what
understand.
we may, talk to the rest of the board, what we all might want to do.
Yeah.
So
that's-
encourage.
Okay, well, I'll follow up with Scott and see what he can do.
Scott, do you have any questions?
I don't want to continue to beat the drum, but to Tony's point, I mean, you look at the projects, 2.8 million gallons, and we just got to make sure that we're talking about Long Pond, it's not recharging. I want to just better understand groundwater migration. So again, I really think it's a great project, quite honestly. I just want those piers to solidify that what folks have looked at is accurate, and we're just not going to put Long Pond at risk.
Understood.
But it's a great project from my perspective.
Are there any other wells in the area?
We're not aware of any. We don't survey outside of what we've
Well,
done.
they have to be indicated somewhere.
We'd have to have a certain distance.
Within 100
Yeah.
feet.
Yeah.
for
Well,
the
there's a bunch
septic
of
plans.
houses that are pretty close. I just didn't know if there was wells. It would be good if you could put them on if there are some.
I think the requirement is 100 feet.
100 feet.
100
Yeah,
feet.
so if you look at the size of these properties, yes, we'll take a look at that.
Are you irrigating this?
So the water superintendent recommended that we
A
look
well.
at a well for irrigation. We are gonna study that a little bit more based on his referral in terms of the feasibility of the irrigation well on that site. And the Housing Corporation has indicated that, yes, if it's doable, it's something that could be done.
Mark, do you have anything?
No, the irrigation well, I mean, it would be a good move because I can guarantee you that there are gonna be restrictions coming on irrigation.
Yeah.
Everything from equipment to time that you irrigate, because we have some issues delivering enough water.
So I guess to that point, Laura, would you look at clover or something like that as opposed to
Yes.
grass?
The landscape
Just-
is drought tolerant, but
Right.
yeah, we can look into that.
And as far as design goes, the planning board wasn't happy with the rental
I heard.
units, and
yeah.
I think it doesn't fit in well. Those look great. Those look like the Cape. The other side looks like I'm in the Jetsons, and I'm gonna land into the Jetsons. And it just doesn't match to me. It's one's contemporary, one's Capey. So it's just doesn't
Well,
match.
those-
It's just the roof, mostly.
We are still in the Cape, I think.
Yeah,
This one that you're thinking
yeah,
about? That view?
yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't look
All right.
to me, and the planning board didn't like it either. I'm not the only one.
Yeah, I should have mentioned too in the presentation that this lawn area you see here, that we've agreed that that would be available for all the residents, including the home ownership kids or people if they want to go over there and sit outside or kick a soccer ball around. And also the pedestrian path, around the entire site will be available to all residents as part of the,
And we'll figure out the
collaboration
mail and
and the
all that stuff
project.
later.
pardon me?
We'll figure out the mail and all that, snow removal and all that later.
Yeah, usually what happens with the home ownership is the post office requires a central mailbox. And we had to do that on Bigelow Landing Road. So they won't do individual mail delivery anymore to home ownership. So we'll have to site one there where the homeowner said, believe it or not, those things cost like $4,000 or $5,000. They're very expensive. So that
Everything
was-
costs
yeah,
something
bit of a
nowadays.
surprise. On the rental side,
And
there'll
we're
be a-
still working for free.
I know. On the rental side, there will be a mail room, so, mail room on the rental side. Okay?
Should we go to the public, or do you want to ask more questions? You can ask.
Oh, not go for it. No. I'll wait.
I'm gonna go to the public if that's all right.
Okay.
Anybody from the public want to comment on this? Come on up. Just need your name and address, please.
My name's Jerry Martin. I live at 412 Blacksmith Shop Road. I'm kind of diagonally across from the entrance of the street that's affecting. I only have a few things. I mean, the selectmen did say, when they said this project should fit the neighborhood. I mean, like you said, duplexes fit the neighborhood. That big complex does not. I feel bad for my neighbor, which is 3 doors down from me. He's gonna see this project because there's a lot of trees that were taken down from Lawrence Lynch, from, I don't know if you've made that corner, Mark knows the corner I'm talking about. And it's, you can see into the pit now, and you'll be able to see right across that road to that. It's one of my things. I mean, like I said, the water, we're gonna have issues with water, nitrogen problems. I mean, you wanna be sensitive to the neighbors. This is not, the biggest project we have, the biggest building we have is the high school down the road, which was built in the 70s, which is not, I moved into my house in 91, I built mine, we have 1.8 acre lots. 7 lots on the north side are all 1.8 acres. Yes, my neighbor put in an ADU unit on their property. Yep, now there's 2 houses on the units on their property, but that's something they could do. 6 acres? I mean, I feel it's just too much myself, but it's my thought. And the traffic issues, they did a traffic study. I've seen plenty of Lawrence Lynch trucks come out of there. Small kids come out at night, they party down there, sometimes the gates are open, and all you see is close accidents. I mean, I'm up early in the morning, I see the kids drive to school. If there should be a cop in that corner right there, because the kids are doing 60 miles an hour to get to school. They don't care. I know it's not your problem, they're driving 60 miles an hour, but it's people coming out of there, I'm gonna see an accident. One person already died in front of my house when I was building my house. So, and they were doing 30 miles an hour, so just so you know. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Great,
Thank you.
Jerry.
Come on up, sir.
Mark Cool, 250 Fire Tower Road. I would agree with Mr. Petrucci and Mr. Peterson, their concern about getting a collective, comprehensive view of what I know you have to evaluate this particular project. Like I was on the zoning board. However, the concerning thing that is being brought to bear by not only Scott, the health agent, as well as the water superintendent, is one more. It turns into, you have to look at it, a cumulative effect. And so I think that's what you two gentlemen were talking about. So in that regard, I would hold off. I mean, yes, there's a timeline. The lawyer said, okay, December, we get that, but you can't put a community's public health safety concerns on a timeline like that, as far as I'm concerned. My question to the developer would be, your financing aspect, is there going to be any federal funding, like HUD or low interest loan type stuff? Because if that were the case, I've done a little research. Because Cape Cod's aquifer system is, sole source, it's been declared the sole source by the federal agency, and because you have the Safe Drinking Water Act of 1974, so then federal mandates will trump state 40B requirements. So I would just present that for consideration, probably more investigation on the board's part, staff's part, because that might throw a wrench in this. Because when the water superintendent says his concern of writing that letter to the Board of Health was, yes, about 2 bylaws that were being proposed to town meeting. More importantly, he's talking about, and I can quote, high-density residential uses. That's what that is. So until a collective idea as to what stuff like this does, and we have to stop doing this, just one more, just one more, just one more. You have to look at it from a cumulative standpoint. I attended the Board of Health, one of the board, or the planning board. One of the health members had mentioned, and it was brought up tonight, Lawrence Lynch is still actively using that sand pit, which lays to the north. The concern of the planning board member was the sand and gravel
Airborne.
dust
Yep.
drift. So I was wondering if the developers noted that for any mitigation purposes. And one of the other things, the height requirement, they're at 47 average grade, 46.9. I think there was a bylaw. I didn't look it up, but once you hit, as the zoning board, 45 feet, then you have to add 2 feet for every foot. This is setback purposes, like side setback, rear setback. You have to add 2 feet for every foot above 45. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but instead of being a 47-foot setback ask for a waiver, I think it has to be, I mean, if you're playing by the rules, 52 foot. So that's all I got for now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair. So, you know, one of the things that, I want to talk about timing just for a minute. One of the things I've noticed with the public is that they don't understand the timing. Just because the applicant says December, whatever date it is, 3rd, does not mean we have to react to that. We have 180 days. That's the law. All right, that's it. And then 40 days after that to give a decision. We don't have to push this. If we don't have the, and I just want to be assured, if we don't have the information, we don't have to push it.
Did you want to come up, Liam?
Hi, I'm Susan Kelleher, and we're the abutters. And so we have a personal interest in what's going on. And we've lived in our property for 30 years. When we bought it, we had to have 2 acres to build our house. And we knew that land was empty there and all those years, and we thought for sure somebody would build a house there someday. And then we knew the town bought it, and then we knew something else might happen, but we never imagined, ever, 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 that the building would be there. So that is our biggest concern, is that it just doesn't fit with our neighborhood. We've had sheep, we had chickens, we had goats, we had, our neighbor has cows, we had a llama, we've had horses, and that's the kind of, our neighbors that are right near us have those things. And we've enjoyed that. And we just don't like this height of that building. And when I say that to them, what they say to me is that, you know, the town, that's what the town dictated that they wanted. But I don't think it's necessary that 46 units be met on this property. We're not opposed to them building anything, except that this is a 3-story building where nice houses are located. And so that's all I'm going to say about that. But that's a big opposition for us. And the other thing is the traffic study. I don't understand what that meant. And because, like someone else said, every morning during the school season, we have, you know, kids going to school, and there's parents driving their kids to school, and there are buses going by. I'm pretty sure it's more than 19. So I don't know when they did the study or what that 19 really means. And maybe I don't understand it, but to me, the influx of 81 or 80-something cars, in addition to that, coming out at that curve, because it is a curve right there, is concerning to me for safety, as Mr. Martin said. And so we just would like you to look at that. And then when he mentioned the fire department, I wondered, was there a fire hydrant going to be added in there?
More than
Special for this complex, because I actually don't know where the fire hydrant is. Tom, do you know where it is? I think it might be at Old Campus. Is that where there's one? We have one there. Yeah, so they have one near them. But,
This will be internal.
so, I'm hoping that that would be true, because I'd hate to see that as a daughter of a fire chief. And
You are?
I am, yes, I was. My dad died in the line of duty in 1970. So I love the fire department. They're my favorite people in the world. And I did hear, the other thing I did ask them to do is to look at the trash container location, because it doesn't have to be on the side that is the side of my property. It could be on the Lawrence and Lynch Road, where there's nobody that cares about people going to the trash at 9:30 or 11:30 at night.
Suzanne's always over that trash stuff.
So I would like them to
Like a
be
hobo on a ham
considerate
sandwich.
of that.
I don't like trash.
I think 2 stories would be better. Like my house. And like the houses that are all around us that are 2 stories. I could live with that. And then they say I'll have to cover more land, but I still think that the height of the building is not good for me anyway.
May I just say something?
Go ahead.
You're concerned about the traffic, and I heard other concerns too. We get traffic studies. One of the things that I'm going to be looking for, because I haven't read it yet, nor here, is when the traffic study was done. If it was not done during school session, then I'm going to have a problem with it. Because it's very important that it's being done during school.
That number sounded a little low to me.
19.
19.
So,
Did they get 19
but
out
there
of
are
that many units?
factors, but what traffic engineers do is they have factors they can put in. It wasn't done, but I'm gonna be interested to see if it was done when school was in.
And if that's an active pit, you can throw another 19 on that.
I
easy.
forgot to mention
on
why.
up.
Yeah, just come up, because
Thanks.
all our
Sorry.
minutes come from that microphone now, as well as the audience at home wants to hear everything you have to say.
I forgot to say
Please
about
do
the
it.
wildlife, that we have
You
deer
have to decide.
in our yard every month of every year that we've been there. One time we had 8 all at once. So there's a corridor that goes there. My husband can say it better than me, but there's a corridor that goes right between our property and Lawrence and Lynch. And the Lawrence and Lynch trucks go down and up and down that driveway all day long, so I don't know who's doing that study. The solar people are very quiet, we'll say that.
Thank you.
Can I ask a couple questions?
Yeah. They have need to
Jerry.
come up. You got 2 of them.
Yeah.
You can come up. You'll be next.
Hi, I'm Thomas Keller, 649 Logasfield Road. We are the only abutter. We are taking it for the team. We don't like it, okay? 3 stories. We have 4.1 acres. We're not gonna go and develop it and do anything with it. We are stewards of the land. We are beholden to what it was set up for. 2-acre minimum zoning residential properties. Now, 3-story building, 763 Main Street is 3-story buildings. Spring Bars Road is only 2 stories. Come on, this is ridiculous. This is absurd. This is not what this is about. Everybody in our neighborhood is into chickens, they're into this, they're into greenhouses. You know, they're doing something agriculturally, they're keeping in step, they're being good stewards of the land, they're keeping it the way it's supposed to be out there, because there's not much of it left. Now, you know, the architectural firm heard our concerns and they came to us, they came to my house, and they came back again, they said, because of what you said, we have offset it a little bit more. But, you know, and I appreciate that. That was very welcoming on their part. But 3 stories out there in the middle of the woods? No. It's like Main Street. Give us a break here. This is ridiculous. All right? Now, Mr. Lynch, God bless his soul, was a very good neighbor. All right? Now they've got a solar farm, and they're going to put in another one. Now, when they built that solar farm, they enclosed it with a fence. Now, there is, like my wife said, there's a herd of deer out there. We have a corridor. We have a 50-foot right-of-way of our property that goes back 1,000 feet to where our house is located. And the person next to us is 2.1 acres, Sarah and Phil. So what happened with the wildlife is that they no longer can go traverse through Mr. Lynch's pit because there's a solar farm and there's a fence there. They have no other place to go but up where we are. Then they're going to put the other solar farm in, and I'm pretty sure they're going to put another fence around that one. Where are these deer going to go? Now, I know it is just a little deer and all this, but we had a 12-point buck out there the other day on town property. All right, this is what we're trying to protect. You know, so I would like to see, because, you know, this is kind of a done deal. And I'd like to get a little bit of a kiss here. And the architectural firm did go and give that to us the other day. But, you know, I still am opposed to a 3-story building being out there. You know, and I would like to see this project be selectively cut. All right, I have a degree in agriculture. And, you know, as I expressed to them before, and I've worked at a Stewart Hawley reservation with Woody Mills. Now, because of that, I did some tree spraying for him and so forth and so on. And he said, Tom, in order to make some money, I need to get some good hollies. I want to sell them off. Do you want to dig a couple of trees? Blah, blah, blah. They were Emily's. Now, Emily's, these are holly trees, and I have them on my property. I have 3 females and 2 males. They are registered. Now, Emily was Wilfred Wheeler's wife's name. Wilfred Wheeler was the Holly man. Wilfred Wheeler also was the first state commissioner of agriculture. Now, myself and the birds have been doing a very good job. They're dropping the seeds all over the place. All right, I have hollies everywhere. I'm starting to dig them. I'm starting now to transplant them along my property line and so forth and so on. I would like to see the landscape architecture going to be of rhododendrons, roses Sharon, spruce trees, hollies, dogwoods, things of that nature. Something that's going to go and cover that up. You know, but I honestly, I've got to tell you, this is ridiculous. This is absolutely absurd. 763 Main Street is what you want to put in my front yard. You know, you're ruining my peace and serenity back there. All right? And I'm a lifelong resident of Falmouth. My family was in real estate, they were in building, they were rentals. We've done it all here in Falmouth. You know, we know that there's a problem, but that's a problem. 3 stories, come on, try to consider 2 stories at least. You know, we thought we were going to get a lot of houses like they got down Locust Field next to Marshalson's and Joe Bento. No, we got a 3-story, 763 Main Street. It's unacceptable. You know, it's a hard thing to swallow. You know, but the architects were willing to go and set it back a little bit more off to the north a little bit, which was very nice of them to go and do. But it's still overkill for what the intent of this parcel of Falmouth is supposed to be. We, the people in that neighborhood, are keeping in step and are being good stewards of that property and maintaining that. You know, and
Did you ask the architect about his 2-story?
Excuse me?
Did you ask the architect about a 2-story?
Yes. I believe we did, yeah. But, you know, we kind of feel that it's a done deal. You know, we don't think that there's
Nothing is a done deal.
oh, thank you very much. you know?
Madam Chair, may I?
Because I kind of feel like I'm on the
Can I-
Titanic and it's
You know,
going down.
as one board, it's very difficult on the neighbors, very difficult on every board member here when we have projects like this. And it's a concern, I want you to know, it is a concern to all of us. What the community doesn't understand about 40Bs is the state of Massachusetts really pays very little attention to these concerns. Because what the applicant can do, if we decided that it should be 2 stories, whatever number of units are reduced by that, they can claim, without us ever understanding what it means to be not economically viable. So if we turned around and said, you gotta take a story off, they would claim that it's we were making an uneconomic, run to the Housing Appeals Court, which is part of the Executive Office of Housing and Local Communities, and they would then win, right? Not only would they win that, but every other condition that we put on it could be removed. So it's a balancing act that we have, as a board, we have to, and I want you to understand this, because when I listen to neighbors, we have to do a lot of 40Bs here, way more than anyone imagines in any town. There's a cumulative effect to this town that's going to be very negative someday, not today, not tomorrow. But for you, I need you to understand, please, it's a balancing act that we have to play here because of the state. Elections have consequences, and remember that.
You know, I'm fully aware that, you know, the state overcomes all of that. I mean, you know, I totally get it, but it's just, you know, like, Mr. Moran isn't here today. He said, what about the Brive Oval piece of property? Well, I guess that's, you know, that got donated and it's conservation. But I mean, you know, that
Open
was down in
space.
a pit, and you could have gone and built a 5-story if you wanted to. This is not in keeping with, I think, the planners set up 2-acre minimum zoning. I got 4.1 acres. You know, but I'm not gonna develop it, I'm gonna keep it just the way it is. You know, we used to have plenty of black snake, we had plenty of possum, no more black snake, I don't see too many possums. You know, we got coyotes and we have deer left, all right? So we're trying to preserve, all my neighbors are all in sync with this. They're all doing the same thing that we're doing. They're keeping in what the 2-acre minimum
Can you
zoning was
provide this
supposed to be.
board, ma'am?
Yeah.
Can you provide this board with credible evidence that this is a problem that would overcome the local need for housing? That is what the Housing Appeals Committee will look at. So if we say, we agree with you, we don't I'm not saying I don't disagree with you, I do agree with you. But you have to have credible evidence. Facts. If you can provide those to this board, it goes a long way. I don't know what else to tell you. It's just what the Housing Appeals Committee, that they will go running to. That's what will happen. You'll just lose. We'll lose.
They don't care.
They don't care.
Not for a second.
Now, you said that you raise sheep on your property?
Chickens, John's got,
I thought
John
someone said
had.
sheep, yeah.
John had.
Well, sometimes we're the sheep.
Go ahead.
True enough.
So, the Housing Appeals Committee may not care, but we care. And that's why we've reached out to the neighbors and tried to look at the plans, you know, to see what those impacts are. And I just want to show you the site plan. So you can see that the changes that have been made as to the buffer to the south. We're often trying to balance open space between, site plan is now. We're trying to balance open space between, and the development of the housing. Find the site plan. So if the building is 2 stories, it means the parking lot in the back has to be expanded, and that vegetated buffer area at the back of the property here. So you see this tree line here? This is the Kelleher property here. Long driveway, the house actually goes way further to the east. So that means sprawl of building. And our understanding was, correct me, Tara and Nina can correct me if I'm wrong, because they met with the Kellehers, was that they preferred to have this vegetated buffer to be as extensive as it could be, and not have the parking area expanded into that vegetated buffer, and not have more building footprint. So we revised the plans to try and preserve more here in this location and increase this buffer here, maintain this buffer here, so that we would have visually we would have an extensive vegetative buffer to the development. I've also, Chuck Martinson is going to be sending you something. I did go out to the site and meet with him. He will be issuing a referral, but he didn't convey any objections to me. I told him we were going to be revising the site plan to expand this buffer, and he was glad to see that. His concern was not having fencing on the property. So we've really tried to look at this in different ways, but I just wanted to make that clear on the record that when you're looking at more building sprawl, you're looking at less vegetative buffers, and we've tried to do that. So
Why would you have to expand the parking lot if there was 2 stories?
the building would have to be larger in footprint, and it would essentially it means extending it in so that
Push
this
it down.
parking lot would get
Not more
pushed.
spots, just pushing it back.
So you're
You
just,
go that way.
so
Well,
you're,
I mean, it'd also, I mean, they're just over at 40.2.
So we
I
have-
mean, if they were to do that, they'd be,
but like I say, there's always a
Nothing cares
balance
about 40.
between
well,
preserving
but
the
I mean, if they
buffers
went to
and
2
building
stories,
sprawl.
they'd have to have more buildings.
One
So-
more.
Yeah, well, then it would push it closer to 50.
It would reduce the vegetated buffer to the rear of the property. Our understanding was that Kelleher's did not want to see that happen, so, I just wanted to.
So they
make
were
that
asked
clear.
if they wanted 2-story more parking, and they said, we want 3-story with hardly any. No, but I mean, if they were given an option.
The option was discussed, and our understanding was that was not a preferred option to use that buffer at the rear of the property. So, having said that, we've heard loud and clear what the concerns are, as we always do in these hearings. I don't know if there's any other members of the public. I can just briefly talk about some of the other issues. Traffic report, as you said, it's in the file. It's a peak hour estimate. They're peak hour estimates. That's where the 19 comes from.
So you think 19 cars, that's all that's gonna come out in the morning?
Peak hour
Peak hours, at rush
calculation
hour.
according to the engineer.
What were the 2 days that they did the count?
The counts are based on the
Christmas.
ITE.
No, what days of the month? What 2 days?
These are based on nationally approved trip generation standards for.
No,
So it's an
that's not what I'm
They don't
asking.
count, they don't
Yeah,
count.
yes. Traffic engineers go out, they sit there for 2 days, and they do traffic counts.
Any traffic
I
study.
just commissioned one, I know.
Okay, I've been filing traffic impact studies. Never had a study where the traffic engineer we've hired has gone out and sat and counted cars. They take them based on the ITE standard rates for peak hour and
Do you have
daily
the
trip
book, the
generation.
ITE book, access to that?
Yes, it's online.
Oh, I thought you had, you should pay for it.
I thought it was,
No, you
No,
can access it online.
the bottom line is, they pick 2 days, and they do a traffic count, all right? They do sight lines, all of that. Now, some of it can be done analytically, but they pick 2 days and they do it. What is gonna concern me as one member is, did they do it when school was in session? And I wanna know what days there were. I've not read the traffic report, so I don't know.
Okay, well, it's in the file, so maybe it'll be a moot point once you read it. As far as the Lawrence.
We have a peer review.
Yeah.
We don't have a peer review for traffic, though, and I think we should probably have one.
We have to have a peer review.
It's over the 100, right? Criteria.
There's no criteria.
Oh, that's true.
I think we should have one marina traffic here. Because I'm not thinking
I'm not
19, it's not even like.
We just had it for another.
Well, in fairness, if you haven't read the report that we filed, is that fair to require peer
Well,
review of
I
a?
can't understand all the report, and I
Okay.
need to have someone do first grade for me. And we
Okay.
have peer reviews come in here for traffic all the time, we do them most projects. We did not do your report because it was only
Small.
5, but we do them for anything this size, that's for sure.
Does the scope now include peer review in the scope of the peer review contract?
We've only asked for a contract for engineering, not for traffic.
I think we need it myself.
Well, this board is responsible for the health and safety
Yeah.
aspects. And if we can't understand it, then somebody's got to explain it to us.
And did that estimate have anything to do with the active pit next door? Did they take that
I
into
haven't read it
account?
to see if it's mentioned in there, I haven't read it. But I think, I know, I believe I want one.
The scope is large
Yeah,
enough to
yeah.
warrant somebody to look at it.
Do you guys all agree on that?
Absolutely.
Nick? Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's unfortunate that you're requiring that kind of time and cost and expense, but the report
It's a
that we
small amount of
provided-
money.
We want
though,
safety for the
Laura, right?
residents.
It's not,
Yes.
it's a small dollar amount.
And
We
that
paid-
19 number just doesn't jive.
You just said they sit at home and play on their computers, so it shouldn't be that bad.
Yeah.
It's, we paid a lot of money to provide the traffic impact assessment, and so it's just unfortunate. It does have quite a bit of information in it that would be helpful to this issue, but it's unfortunate that it hasn't been reviewed. So other than that, there are fire hydrants internally, as you pointed out, Ms. Murphy. The trash container, we can look at that. The all-day-long Lawrence Lynch trucks, that's not our understanding from speaking to the owner of the company. And the solar farm fencing, that's not within our control. So
Madam Chair,
other
may I ask
than
a
that,
question? With regard to Lawrence Lynch, can we ask for a short narrative from Lawrence Lynch as to how they use that road? Number of trucks in and out, size of trucks, things of that nature, just a short narrative, couple paragraphs. Can we ask for that sort of thing?
Any input on that?
we can certainly request it. Whether or not they will provide it, we cannot guarantee that or require it from them.
We can ask.
They're an owner.
Or can we?
We can
Can we trust
certainly,
them?
we can
Honestly,
certainly
I'm
make the
sorry.
request. I can tell you, on the planning board referral, Mr. Cool said that there was a concern at the planning board. It wasn't a concern, it was a question. Is there any issue with airborne matters from the Lawrence Lynch site? So that operation is subject to special permits issued by the zoning board. You have them on file. There's 3 or 4 of them. There are all sorts of conditions in those permits. According to our environmental expert, there are regulations, state and locally, that kind of operation have to follow to address those kinds of concerns. The tree buffers are important, and those are surrounding that site.
May I ask a question? I apologize, but, I lose my spot. I'm old. So, with regard to the special permits, which I have no idea about from Lawrence Lynch, I'm sure they're there. In those special permits, are there any monitoring of air quality required in those special permits?
The permits are very old,
Yes.
so I can't tell you off the top of my head if there are conditions to that or not.
So, if there is a concern, if this board has a concern, would it be valid that someone determine whether or not there is a air quality concern with regard to the dust? I mean, it's a question.
Well,
But if there's a special permit and there's no monitoring required, then how would we know that there's a problem or not a problem?
Because the monitoring is through the state and local regulations and laws that govern those types of operations and airborne quality. So again, I can talk to Scott McGann about this and see what he has to say about it. But these industrial operations of this nature are subject to laws when it comes to air quality. So they're subject to regulations and laws at
And
the
one of the
state and
last
local
things we
level.
want residents up against are industrial operations. That is a problem.
But, Mr. Petrucci, if you look at the GIS map, look at all the residents that are already in the area.
I know,
It's
but they're there.
surrounded by
We have no say.
single-family homes.
I don't mean to argue, Madam Chair, and I
So
don't
you-
want to, because I think what you do.
Okay. Have you
what
ever
folks
heard a
do-
complaint
let me just
from
finish, let me just
anybody
finish.
about the Lawrence
Let me-
Lynch
let me just
causing an
finish.
airborne problem?
I think what you folks do is outstanding. I think you do an outstanding, a wonderful job, so please, don't misunderstand me. Our job is to make sure that the health and safety of the community as a result of these permits is met. And if there is a valid concern, then we have to deal with it. I'm not sure there's a valid concern. I'm asking you to help us determine that. You're the applicant. Who else do we turn to?
And I did, I consulted with our environmental specialist, said that this type of operation are subject to state and local laws and regulations for air quality.
As long as someone's
They're monitored
monitoring
by
it.
those agencies, and enforcement is
Then
taken
just-
by those
then do me a
agencies.
favor,
And
grab the reports.
And the zoning board has special permits on the property that I can provide you. You can review what your own conditions say about wooded buffers and protection of the neighborhood. And if you look at this property, look at all the residential homes that surround it. We
But we're
haven't
only
heard
concerned-
anybody
but we're concerned about
claim
this
that
one.
there's an issue there.
But that's long ago. We're concerned about, Madam Chairman, I'm sorry, can I?
Is anybody claiming that there is an issue?
I think we should, yeah. We've asked for information, we need to get it.
Yeah, and I just, like, the dust issue with pits and operations of the like is usually minimal when there's a paved road. Most of the dust comes from, 10 and 12-wheeled vehicles driving down dirt roads. That is a paved road. So I'd be inclined to think that that's not a great issue. But that's just my 2 cents.
I just want to explore it.
But the fact that,
Get the information on
yeah, and did the traffic study even consider the trucks coming in and out of there? That might be an issue.
The more findings we have, the better.
Yeah, it's only our first night.
Yeah. Is anybody else from the public want to comment?
I actually had a question for Jerry and then for,
You want a question, Jerry?
yeah, and then perhaps a follow-up with Mr. Cool. You're a firefighter and familiar
Yeah, I
with
work for
it.
the
I
fire
know
department.
your specialty is alarms, but when they do a flow test, I'm assuming that the hydrant in front of your house is going to be on the same main that serves this. What kind of water pressure do you have at your house, and how would you rate that hydrant? And we're gonna find this out, because they're gonna have to
You're
do a
gonna find
flow
out.
test.
My pressure at my house goes up and down. Like
Goes up and down?
Last summer, it was horrendous. I probably had like 40 pounds. I probably have 55.
40 pounds?
40 pounds. I had 55. I've got 55 pounds this year. I don't know what they did. I asked them. They said they haven't changed anything. I think it's just the pressure they put in the pipes. I'm not sure, but
Well, I know when they did the flow test, when I was on the fire station committee on Sandwich Road, I know that they were like 85 pounds.
Yeah.
And the volume was incredible. But
I mean, they used to use
we're
the
not
fire-
talking that
I
kind
mean,
of,
They used to use the fire hydrant in front of my house when they used to have the brush fires in Lawrence Lynch's pit, before they put the solar farm there. And it was very minimal. They were very minimal there. They always complained about it, but that's not, things have changed. And I'm not saying, I don't know
well,
much about the water pressure there.
precious little has improved in that.
Yeah.
As you
no.
well know,
Oh,
being
no.
a firefighter, and
Oh, yeah,
there's
no, it's been,
3,300 hydrants in this town,
yeah,
and
no, they're
and
doing a
they all
good
need
job,
some
but-
help.
oh yeah, the water's gonna be an issue.
Well,
That's
we'll
good.
find out.
Oh yeah.
Mark, can I ask you?
Yes, sir.
You're up the hill. I'm assuming that your water supply
And I'm only assuming this, I haven't seen what kind of pressure you got up there?
Yeah, good pressure.
You do?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. And like I said, they're
We
gonna
have
do a flow
we have
test anyway.
Well, actually, let me take that back. We had to put in an
Pump,
a pump.
to increase your pressure.
Right, but when we moved in 35 years ago, that's why we invested in a pump. So, I don't know about the other neighbors.
Yeah, the elevation, but I
Well, we'll
mean,
get the flow test, that'll do it for you.
Mrs. Kelleher,
I'm speaking,
for pressure.
I'm speaking for Anne Moran, who asked me to say that she does not have water pressure. And that's a complaint that she has, and she's the person that said to me, you know, she always worries about the curve in that road right at Blacksmith Shop Road. So,
And what's her address?
she's right across the street from us, so I don't really
Okay.
know what her address is, I'm sorry. 649, we're 649, so she's right across.
Somewhere up there, yeah.
Can I ask a question while you're up there?
Pardon?
He has a question.
Were you, I don't remember who said it, were you the one that said, when you were asking the applicant about the project, that this is what the town is required or requested? Were you the one that said that?
They said that they needed to have 46 units, that's
Who
why.
said that? The town of Falmouth?
I'm
Or
not
the
really
applicant?
clear who says that. Yeah, so they
Yeah.
want 46 units. So when we said, couldn't you just do a two-story building, we meant not expand the footprint, but lower the amount of units. Do we have to meet, does that little piece of property have to meet the 50% of what we needed for the town of Falmouth? And the answer was that that's what somebody
This is
ordered
the-
or whatever.
What's in the RFP, is what I
Right.
understand.
Yeah, we actually have good water pressure, I didn't say that, but we have a 2-inch line. So when we built our house, the water department said,
you have a 2-inch meter?
yeah, yeah, and if
Oh,
you
you got
want,
They're paying for it
if
too
you
now.
want,
Yeah.
yeah, we're
Yeah.
paying big for it. If you want,
1,000 feet back, Mark.
so
Yeah,
if
but
we were
2
gonna
inches
have
huge.
water pressure at all, they said that's what we had to have, and we put that in, and we pay highly for it. So we
Yeah.
value the
And
water.
they charge by the
Okay,
size.
thank
of
you.
the-
Yes, they do,
Yeah.
I pay a lot of money for it.
Change that.
So I think we've wrapped it up, right? Is
Wow.
everybody all set out there for comments for tonight? Linda, do you have anything? You all set? Okay. Everybody's all set up here?
I say we've absorbed enough.
Are you all set? Laura? So we'll continue? Have you picked a date?
September 24th.
September 24th? Want to grab me a motion?
Motion to continue to September 24th.
Second.
At 6 o'clock.
We have a, there you go. We have a motion and a second. You definitely all set? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Done. Thank you all for coming out. All right, let's continue.
Get that peer review money in.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can move.
You said in an email today, we can do 23 and 30 for the minutes? Is that what I remember?
Okay, so July 23rd was
I know, I just
previously
sent it,
sent
yeah,
out.
the disc.
But Frank had issues with it.
Yes,
Okay.
but it was
And you corrected.
corrected
Okay.
and then sent out. So he advises that although he's absent today, that he's good with
Can
the
you guys
changes
talk
that
out in the
were
hall?
made.
So 30, we're only doing 30.
The 23rd.
Okay.
And
I mean,
then
23.
30 and 6 went out today.
Okay, so
I
we'll
would
just do
assume people
one.
have not read them. So-
All right, so I'll make a motion to, if everyone's comfortable with it, to approve July 30th minutes?
23rd.
I mean, July 23rd, 26 minutes? Second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye.
I wasn't here.
4 and 1 abstain. Do I have to do anything to address Nick's?
I would just state into the record that we had a request.
We had a request for an insubstantial change at 213 North Falmouth Highway, which the applicant has withdrawn. Board discussion?
I think we've had enough discussion
I think we
this
certainly
evening.
have.
Surely have.
Zoning, she's quiet too, I can feel it. Board updates.
So just, for the record, at some point in time, the town is looking to have the zoning board meet at the senior center as opposed to the select board meeting room. There is more capacity for audience at the senior center, and as you know, we periodically get some larger crowds
So,
with some of the 40Bs.
I have a question. Does anybody that meets there now use this, happy, do they use this, minutes from the microphone? Because you're gonna find it's totally insufficient there. You
Yeah,
can't
it's
hear a
gonna be
damn
hard.
thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
The
I'll
sound
have to
there
check.
stinks. Or last time I was there anyway.
Was that board updates? Yeah. Future agenda items? Scott's going away, we'll miss you. He needs it. And our next meeting will be on August 27th of 2026. And Mark?
Motion to adjourn at 10:09.
And we have, I thought it was gonna be earlier. We have a motion to adjourn and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, none.